This young man just turned 18 today, and the first thing he did upon coming of age was to buy a racy magazine to read. However, as soon as he opened this book, Lambhan was immediately pulled into another world by it. After an unknown amount of time, Lambhan groggily woke up. He discovered he was lying on a patch of grass with a stream in front of him, in a dense forest, a scene completely out of place with the city he lived in. Also, it seemed he had hit his head on a nearby rock when he landed, so now his forehead was both in pain and bleeding non-stop. Lambhan looked at his reflection in the stream and was terrified to discover that this face, this body, did not belong to him at all. Could it be that his soul had transmigrated? Thinking this, Lambhan also realized that some memories from the original owner remained in this new body. In the world he had just transmigrated to the human clan cultivated by borrowing spirit beasts, to absorb the spiritual energy of heaven and earth. The original owner of this body was also named Lambhan, and he was so poor he couldn't afford a spirit beast for cultivation. So every day he could only climb walls to eavesdrop on lessons, comforting himself that in another 2 years he could buy a Howking as his own spirit beast. That day the original owner was climbing the wall to eavesdrop as usual, when he suddenly ran into the city lord's son plotting to drug an innocent girl, because he was caught red-handed. This guy ordered his subordinates to capture the original owner, but he quickly shook them off by running to the outskirts of the city. He thought that would be the end of it, but while running across a stream he tripped and fell on a rock and died. The modern-day Lambhan transmigrated directly into this body. After receiving the original owner's memories, he couldn't help but let out a long sigh. So pitiful, isn't it? Not only do you two have the same name, but you also look very similar. Being reborn in his body has the least impact on you, so why don't you thank me already? Suddenly a strange voice rang in Lambhan's ear. At this moment Lambhan realized the voice belonged to the book that made him transmigrate, the 9 Provinces Beast Maiden collection. His first reaction was to kick it with all his might. If it weren't for this damn thing, he would probably still be at home, peacefully getting ready for dinner right now. Lambhan had to accept that he had transmigrated and had a new life. Moreover, he hadn't been in this era for long before he encountered the first trouble left by the original owner the city lord's family had caught up to him. These guys were as persistent as leeches, and right now he was empty-handed and didn't even know how to fight. If he didn't do something, he was afraid he would be silenced. At this moment, the 9 Provinces Beast Maiden collection flew back and forth in front of Lambhan, looking very smug. You can't escape. The only way is to sign a contract with me. Then you can borrow a beast maiden to deal with them. Although he despised this strange book, seeing the city lords' family's guards getting very close, Lambhan knew he couldn't fight them, and had no other choice but to follow the book's advice and sign a contract. Contractor Lambhan, affirmed by the Supreme Immortal Sacred Emperor. Begin contract signings. As the book uttered these words, Lambhan wondered what on earth the Supreme Immortal Sacred Emperor it mentioned was. It sounded exaggerated, just as exaggerated as this contract signing process. At this moment, the city lord's family's guards had already started drawing their weapons to attack him, yet this complicated ritual was still not complete. Lambhan was so anxious, he couldn't stand still. Fortunately, right after that, the contract was officially completed, and he could draw the first beast maiden to fight. Draw right now. Lambhan nodded his head repeatedly. The 9 Provinces Beast Maiden collection then randomly selected the first beast maiden for him. Immediately a huge blazing flame shot out from the book. The 9 Provinces Beast Maiden collection announced that he had drawn the primordial Chaos Phoenix Beast Maiden of the true fire element named Jike. As soon as she appeared, Jike gave Lambhan a flirtatious look, then greeted him with a strange title, My Emperor. And the city lord's family's guards stopped when they saw this scene, then whispered to each other, Is this a humanoid spirit beast? I heard they're a very high class. He must have stolen it. How could he have the money to buy a spirit beast, capture it, and offer it to our young master? Their noisy voices made Jike lose all patience. After all, she was a fire element phoenix, so it was normal for her to be short-tempered. Jike turned around, waved her hand to create a large flame, and instantly roasted those servants. And Lambhan was so shocked by her action that his eyes widened in disbelief. To be this powerful with just one move, it seems that book is really something good. Right after dealing with those minions, Jike once again got close to Lambhan. At this close distance, she looked even more beautiful and hot, making him unable to help but blush to his ears. My Emperor, this servant has finally waited for you. Seeing Jike's eyes that looked like they could eat him alive, Lambhan swallowed nervously, then suggested, How about we finish off those guys first, otherwise they'll still... Before he could finish his sentence, he was forcefully grabbed by Jike and pinned to the ground. Let's talk about such trivial matters later. Right now I just want to be loved by my Emperor. Let's get to the main business first. Lambhan was extremely panicked to see her pinning him down upon their first meeting, her hands already busy taking off his pants. Despite Lambhan constantly backing away, she had no intention of giving up, saying something about him being the reincarnated demon emperor, and she was his concubine, so their most important task right now was to procreate to revive the endangered demon clan. Lambhan really didn't understand what she was talking about. Even though she was truly beautiful and hot, she couldn't just pin him down and force him into this kind of thing on their first meeting, right? Not to mention he was still a virgin. So Lambhan used all his strength to hold on to his pants and took a few steps back. Wait, I'm just a normal person. How did I become the demon emperor? Still wouldn't give up explaining that the 9 Provinces Beast Maiden collection was the best proof, because in the entire world only the demon emperor could open it. My emperor, am I not worthy of your favor? Jika asked aggrievedly. Lambhan looked at Jika's pitiful appearance and really couldn't bear it. He was having a fierce internal conflict. On one hand, he felt why refuse a blessing that came to his door. On the other hand, he felt a gentleman shouldn't act rashly without understanding the situation. But there was no denying that Jika was too seductive. Watching her writhe like that, the thread of Lambhan's reason finally snapped in two. He prepared himself mentally, and then with just a beckon of his finger, Jika rushed over like a moth to a flame. However, just as the two were about to get down to business, the 9 Provinces Beast Maiden collection appeared again and forcibly pulled Jika back inside. Lambhan was livid. This damn book! I was all ready, what are you interfering for? And inside the book, Jika was also screaming non-stop, let me out, I can't wait anymore. Seeing Lambhan looking like he wanted to tear it to shreds, the 9 Provinces Beast Maiden collection quickly tried to clear its name. Wait, do you know what would happen if you get on the express train with her right now? You'd be serving with utmost devotion, drained to death. The book's words snapped Lambhan back to his senses. It seemed since he had never experienced relations between men and women, his thinking was still quite simple. Moreover, in this world the source of all power is called G. The human clan uses spirit-beast contracts to absorb the G of heaven and earth and convert it into true Chi. And you possess the supreme immortal sacred body, so even without a spirit beast as a medium, you can still absorb G anytime, anywhere, and you can also transfer G back to the beast maidens through acts of favor. But Lambhan had just transmigrated here, so the amount of G stored in his body was almost zero. As the progenitor of the demon clan's spirit beasts, GK's need for G far exceeds your current absorption rate. If you force it, the result will be getting drained completely dry and dying. The more he listened to it, the more Lambhan felt this was too terrifying. Isn't this just another way of saying using yang to supplement yin? Such an important setting. Yet the 9 Provinces Beast Maiden collection didn't tell him from the beginning, causing him to almost fall into the beauty's trap. Thinking about it made him angry, so Lambhan slammed the book on the ground a few times to vent his anger. What demon clan? Also, who are you? What is this world? Explain it clearly to me right now. Don't hit me. I'll tell you right now. The book squealed, and then it began to tell Lambhan's stories from thousands of years ago. That winter, the demon emperor died, and the human clan and devil clan attacked the demon capital, leading to the massacre of countless members of the demon clan. To protect the demon clan's bloodline, the demon empress sealed the 15 strongest beast maidens into this book and opened a dimensional passage to send it to Earth. Its mission is to wait for the demon emperor to be reincarnated, procreate with those 15 beast maidens, and rebuild a strong demon clan. So this demon emperor is actually just a breeding bull? Lambhan asked doubtfully. Don't be so pessimistic. Those 15 beast maidens were all carefully selected, and each one is a completely new experience. Not only are there chickens, foxes, and rabbits, but there are also tigers, bears, and lizards. Lambhan held his head and cried out to the heavens. No, he would never agree to do that kind of thing with a lizard. Moreover, the most important thing is that both the human clan and the devil clan see the demon clan as a great disaster. Now, if the newly reincarnated demon emperor reveals himself, he will surely die under the blades of these two clans. This was too dangerous for Lambhan. He just wanted to be a roadside tree, living his days unnoticed. This is too scary, I refuse to drive with the beast maidens, Lambhan declared. But he was already in too deep, it wasn't easy to back out. The 9 Provinces Beast Maiden collection immediately said that once the contract was signed, it couldn't be revoked. If Lambhan refused to cooperate, it would release all the beast maidens to devour him together. Thinking of GK's gaze and behavior just now, Lambhan couldn't help but shudder. Just one person was that scary. If there were 15, he would surely die a very ugly death. Well, he had no choice but to cooperate with that book. That way it would agree to help him seal those 15 beast maidens, and that Jika also looked very powerful. Having someone like that by his side would probably make him safer. So Lambhan changed the subject, wondering about another issue. The 9 Provinces Beast Maiden collection said he had the supreme immortal sacred body and could absorb G anytime without a spirit beast, but since arriving, Lambhan hadn't felt anything at all. This made him very skeptical about his identity as the supreme immortal sacred emperor. "You'll know soon enough when you fight," the book replied. "Fight, could it be?" As he spoke, Lambhan subconsciously turned his head, only to see a sword hurtling towards him. Instinctively, Lambhan immediately leaned back to dodge. The sword plunged directly into the base of the tree next to him. So dangerous. If he hadn't dodged in time, his left leg would have been pinned to the tree trunk by this sword. And the person who launched this attack was the city lord's son, Liu Dadiao, and next to him was his spirit beast, Ahu. As expected, the barely breathing guards from before had gone back and brought their young master here. Inside the book, Jike was furious seeing them attack her emperor. But the 9 Provinces Beast Maiden collection didn't let her or anyone else out because it wanted Lambhan to fight this battle himself to feel his power. What? He was so shocked his jaw dropped, because Lambhan had never won a fight in his entire life. But Liu Dadiao didn't give him any time to react. In a flash, his Ahu charged fiercely. Behind them, the guards cheered for their master while threatening Lambhan to hand over the humanoid spirit beast if he wanted to live, because he wasn't worthy of owning it. Even a worm will turn. How could Lambhan just stand there and take it, although he had never won a fight? Fighting is an instinct who doesn't know how, so he clenched his fist and threw a random punch towards the tiger. And Lambhan himself couldn't have imagined that his punch was so powerful that it sent Liu Dadiao's Ahu flying. On its way, it even snapped several sturdy tree trunks. This proved that his punch was truly powerful enough to make gods and ghosts weep. Meanwhile, a beautiful girl was searching for them in the forest. "I clearly saw them go this way just now. How did they disappear in an instant?" she mumbled. After sending Ahu flying, Lambhan himself couldn't hide his surprise at his own strength. The 9 Provinces Beast Maiden collection added that this was merely the power he had absorbed in just the last hour. But he hadn't been happy for long before Lambhan's arms and legs were suddenly bound by 4 snakes. The other end of the 4 snakes was held tightly by 4 guards following Liu Dadiao, forcing Lambhan into a position where he couldn't move. This was the 4-star snake formation formed by 4 1-star iron snake spirit beasts. After restraining Lambhan, Liu Dadiao and his spirit beast Ahu planned to charge forward at the same time. However, just as he was about to make his move, he was startled by a shout. "Liu Dadiao, are you bullying a classmate again?" This was the beautiful girl who was lost looking for people in the forest earlier. Her identity was the daughter of the Wuin Hall's master named Meow Meow. Lambhan had a slight impression of this girl. After all, she was the goddess in the original owner's heart. It seems Meow Meow saw Liu Dadiao leading people out of the city and followed them only to come across this scene. "Meow Meow, you've misunderstood. I didn't do anything." Liu Dadiao seemed very afraid of the young Miss Cheng, so he hurriedly explained as soon as he saw her. "Still trying to argue I saw you bullying a classmate with my own eyes? How can you fake that? Do you believe I'll tell your father?" Liu Dadiao quickly knelt and kowtowed to apologize to Meow Meow, saying he wouldn't dare do it again, because everyone knew this hooligan was very afraid of his father, because no matter what happened, he would beat him to a pulp first before talking. After dealing with Liu Dadiao, Meow Meow noticed Lambhan and then realized he wasn't their classmate, which made her wonder even more why Liu Dadiao was bullying him. "Yes, he's just a commoner. Of course he's not our classmate. Don't pay any more attention to him," Liu Dadiao said. Right now he just wanted to quickly get rid of Meow Meow to finish dealing with Lambhan. But after learning Meow Meow's identity, Lambhan didn't want to let this opportunity go so easily. He then said loudly, "He's bullying me because he's not as strong as me, so he brought a lot of people to gang up on me to save face." He deliberately tattled on Liu Dadiao to Meow Meow because she was the daughter of the Wuin Hall's master. If he could get into the martial arts hall through her, he could learn various cultivation techniques. Even with 15 beast maidens in his hands, Lambhan was still clearly aware of how important it was to protect himself with his own strength. And after hearing him say he wasn't as strong, Liu Dadiao and his Ahu immediately flew into a rage. He and his spirit beast charged forward, ignoring Meow Meow's efforts to stop them from behind. Liu Dadiao was very smug, thinking that since Lambhan started it this time, even if he took his life, Meow Meow would have no reason to criticize him. However, he had fallen for Lambhan's trick. At this moment, his limbs were still bound by the 4 iron snakes. But it was all an act, as the combined strength of those 4 guards was no match for his. So when Liu Dadiao and Ahu got close, Lambhan stood his ground. then used his strength to fling the 4 guards away through the 4 snakes connecting them. At the same time, after doing this, he grabbed Ahu's head with one hand and Liu Dadiao's head with the other and slammed them together. This collision stunned them instantly, and both of them rolled over and passed out. And Cheng Meow Meow, who saw the whole process, her eyes couldn't help but light up. She felt like she had found a treasure. Not long after, she returned to Wuin Hall and rushed to tell her father what she had just seen, while also begging him to accept him as a disciple. The master of Wuin Hall was Cheng Feng. Hearing his daughter's story, he was still skeptical because, although that Liu Dadiao's character might not be upright, he was still the city lord's son with a solid foundation and a fairly strong spirit beast. Yet both he and Ahu together couldn't defeat a kid who had never practiced any cultivation techniques and didn't use a spirit beast. This is getting a little interesting. Where is he? I want to go see what kind of talent he is, Cheng Feng said as he stood up. Sheng Meow Meow nodded repeatedly and led the way for her father. She had anticipated this, so she had already brought Lambhan back to Wuin Hall earlier. Right now he was in the training room. At that time Lambhan was reveling in the success of his plan. He felt that with his supreme immortal sacred body's aptitude, he just needed to learn a few cultivation techniques to start a brilliant career in this world. But the strange thing was that the usually talkative 9 Provinces Beast Maiden collection had been silent as a clam. At the same time, the book was trembling non-stop. By the time Lambhan noticed this, it was too late, because Jike had already burst out of the book and pinned him to the ground again. My emperor, can you favor me now? I can't wait any longer. Seeing the helpless 9 Provinces Beast Maiden collection, it seemed it wasn't its fault this time. It turned out that after being unsealed, the book's binding power over the Beast Maiden was reduced by half. It had been trying its best all this time. Because the Ji in Lambhan's body was becoming more and more abundant, it also exuded a strong attraction to Jike, making it unable to bind her anymore. The 9 Provinces Beast Maiden collection could only remind Lambhan to absolutely remain chaste and not drive with her, because the Ji he had accumulated so far seemed like a lot. But in reality it wasn't even enough to fill the gaps in Jike's teeth. He could clearly understand what the outcome would be. At this moment Jike was sitting on top of him, constantly writhing and acting cute to seduce him. Lambhan was an 18-year-old young man full of vigor, who had never tasted a woman, so it was difficult for him to remain calm in this situation. However, he knew very well that if he was careless, his life force would be sucked dry by her and he would turn into a dried-up corpse. Moreover, he was here and Cheng Meow Meow could return at any moment. If they were seen, he would be doomed. While Lambhan was sweating bullets, unsure how to resolve this, he suddenly heard someone kick open the door and shout, "Which bastard injured my son? Get out here now!" It seemed the city lord of Sonduang County, Liu Dadiao's father, had come to his doorstep. Liu Dadiao's father was Liu Tieju. His name matched his person, a big fat old man, as sturdy as a house pillar. He came to Wuin Hall with a very arrogant demeanor, and the disciples at the hall were all buzzing about his son being beaten to a pulp by someone. After all, in Wuin Hall, Liu Dadiao was one of the top disciples. The person who could beat him until his face was swollen like that must not be an ordinary person. Liu Tieju pretended not to hear the gossip about his son. He just wanted to quickly meet the person who did this to him, then take that person's life to atone for his son. The atmosphere in Wuin Hall thus became extremely tense. Hall Master Cheng Feng personally came out to stop him, but couldn't appease Liu Tieju's anger. However, suddenly Lambhan's scream from the training room broke the tense atmosphere. "Don't! Let go! Don't pull my pants!" Then Lambhan, with his pants pulled halfway down, crawled out of the doorway under everyone's astonished gaze. His suggestive words from before, combined with this scene, made everyone imagine a romantic tryst in the training room. Liu Tieju quickly covered his eyes, not wanting to be tainted by this filthy sight. As for Liu Dadiao, he hurriedly and loudly tattled that he was the one who beat him. After confirming his target, Liu Tieju immediately summoned his first spirit beast. It was a 4-star mantis beast with an overwhelmingly powerful aura. But what Lambhan noticed more was that he had just summoned it from the jade pendant on his waist. This is so much like catching Pikachu. Everyone around was alarmed, as this mantis beast was not to be trifled with. For Liu Tieju to bring it out right at the start, he really wanted to beat Lambhan to a pulp. Fortunately, because of its appearance, Jike temporarily spared Lambhan's pants. It's just a small mantis beast. My emperor, you should rest. Let this servant deal with it, she said confidently, then stepped over him and walked out. Seeing that Lambhan actually possessed a humanoid spirit beast, and a beautiful one at that, countless people present were overcome with greed, including Liu Tieju. The old man wanted to end this battle quickly and take Jike back as his own prize. But in reality it wasn't that easy. His heavenly leaf, Mantis, quickly struck first. Its attack speed was very fast and it struck continuously. Jika also dodged gracefully, but was eventually grazed by it once. Luckily, it only tore her beautiful clothes and didn't cause an injury. But this was enough to make her livid. As for Lambhan, he was extremely worried, and turned to ask the 9 provinces beast maiden collection, with a doubtful tone, what level of spirit beast is Jika exactly? She can't even dodge a 4-star mantis beast's attack. Is there really no danger? The book quickly reassured him with the information that Jike was from the demon clan and was a beast maiden personally chosen by the demon empress, so she could be considered the highest level spirit beast. It's just that because she was sealed for too long, a lot of her power has drained away, so her strength is no longer what it used to be. But luckily in this battle her fire attribute counters wood, so dealing with that wood element spirit beast Jika definitely won't face too much of an obstacle. Because of her anger over her torn clothes, Jika was not in the mood to fight the mantis beast for long. She took a deep breath, then blew out a huge flame aimed straight at that spirit beast. But before the fire could touch the mantis beast, Liu Tiezhu quickly recalled it back to his jade pendant. On the contrary, he took advantage of the opening in Jike's defense while she was attacking and rushed forward to capture her. This spirit beast isn't bad, from now on it's mine. As he said this, his eyes were locked on Jike's C-cup chest. What a shameless old man. But before he could even touch a single hair on her head, Liu Tiezhu was sent flying by Lambhan's punch. It's true that a tiger that doesn't leave its mountain is mistaken for a Hello Kitty. I'm the one who can absorb G without going through an element you know. Seeing this scene, Hall Master Cheng Feng and countless others couldn't help but gape in astonishment. Lambhan could actually keep up with Liu Tiezhu's speed and even send him flying with one punch. This strength doesn't seem like that of a normal young man who doesn't know any cultivation techniques. It seems his daughter wasn't lying before. After knocking back Liu Tiezhu, Lambhan took the initiative to put his arm around Jike's shoulder, pulled her closer, and declared his ownership. She's mine, no one can take her away. His words stunned Jike, then made her so happy her limbs went weak. She thought to herself, could my emperor's words just now be a confession of love to me? As for Liu Tiezhu, although the punch made him dizzy, he still hadn't given up on the idea of taking Jike, so he threatened Lambhan. Kid, being weak is not a crime, but being weak and stubbornly holding on to a high-level spirit beast is a crime punishable by death. Hand that spirit beast over to me and I can spare your life. If Liu Tiezhu knew he was confronting the reincarnated demon emperor, perhaps he wouldn't dare to say such arrogant words. Unlucky for him, Lambhan was looking for a punching bag to unleash all his power on. Like the last punch, he used 20% of the G in his body. If he used the remaining 80% all at once on Liu Tiezhu, then he would have no G left in his body, and Jike's needs would be satisfied for a while. The more he thought, the more Lambhan felt this plan was absolutely perfect. He then said, stop talking so much. If you have the guts, come and take it yourself. As he spoke, Lambhan beckoned with his hand in a provocative manner. Seeing him being so arrogant, Cheng Meow Meow started to worry. City Lord Liu, after all, possessed a cultivation level of the 3rd heaven of the heavenly origin realm. If he really went all out against Lambhan, she was afraid he would be at a disadvantage. Thinking of this, Cheng Meow Meow hurriedly urged her father Cheng Feng to intervene. But at this moment, the Hall Master was still deep in thought. Lambhan had created too many miracles. He felt that perhaps he didn't need his help and wanted to stand by and see how far he could go. However, when Liu Tiezhu's threatening voice rang out again, Cheng Feng could no longer stand still. This heaven pond break move of mine is as powerful as a thunderstrike and as fast as lightning. Once launched, no one can dodge it. It is your honor to die by this move of mine. Liu Tiezhu, are you crazy using this move to deal with a young man? Cheng Feng rushed forward at this moment, but his speed was still a bit slower than Liu Tiezhu's, because the old man had already begun his attack. Looking at the opponent's move, it was indeed as fast as lightning. Instinctively, Lambhan wanted to run, but if he dodged, the heaven pond break would hit Jike, and that was not acceptable. Therefore, Lambhan decisively pushed her aside, then unleashed all the remaining energy in his body. In the end, Cheng Feng was still a step too slow and couldn't stop that crazy old man, and Liu Tiezhu's heaven pond break sent Lambhan flying backward while also destroying a whole row of Hall Master Cheng's buildings. On the other hand, when he unleashed his full power earlier, Lambhan had also forced Liu Tiezhu to take 3 steps back. This made him even more excited. This kid fought me head-on and could still make me retreat 3 steps. He really has some skill. But unfortunately, you still hit my son, so your life can only end here. Bricks and tiles, shattered dust filled the air, and Lambhan sat amidst the ruins, his whole body seemingly stuck to the wall. Everyone thought he couldn't have survived. Both Jike and Cheng Meow Meow ran over worriedly to check on the situation. However, after a few seconds of deathly silence, Lambhan suddenly screamed, it hurts so much. My arm is broken." Jike's nerves relaxed, and she immediately rushed to hug him. She was terrified that her demon emperor would die once again. And Lambhan, due to the close contact with her hot body, couldn't control his nosebleed. Other people who saw this scene found it very irritating to the eyes. They were clearly at a martial arts hall, yet they were still being fed public displays of affection. But the most shocked person was probably Hull Master Cheng. It must be said an ordinary person taking a direct hit from Heaven Pond Break would at best be completely crippled, otherwise they would be turned into a pile of minced meat. Yet Lambhan was still alive, and kicking his injuries weren't too complicated, and he could even stand up and flirt with the beauty. This was a complete slap in the face to City Lord Liu Tiezhu, and a few people shared this thought with Hull Master Cheng, so they all tacitly turned their concerned gazes towards Liu Tiezhu. His face had darkened by now. Everyone thought that this time he would probably have to destroy Wuin Hall to vent his anger. But who would have thought Liu Tiezhu then gritted his teeth and said something completely unrelated? Kid, you're a motherfucking once-in-a-thousand-years talent. Ha 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 ha. The old man kept laughing, even exaggeratingly running over to put his arm around Lambhan's shoulder. From now on you'll study at the dojo. The tuition fees and whatnot, my city lord's mansion will cover it all. Hull Master Cheng, what do you think? Yes, of course. Cheng Feng hadn't yet processed what had just happened, but still replied hurriedly. The only one who objected to this was Liu Dadiao. He aggressively ran over, pointed at Lambhan's face, and started complaining non-stop. Father, you can't just let him off like this. Am I supposed to have taken a beating for nothing? But his words carried no weight now. Liu Tiezhu decisively kicked his son, sending him flying straight into the sky. Can't take one beating, then take two. And it seems what Liu Dadiao said before was not wrong. This city lord was rough even with his own son. Afterwards he handed Lambhan over to Cheng Feng and instructed him to personally teach him properly before leaving. After he was gone, Cheng Meow Meow wondered, Father, why did Liu Tiezhu suddenly change his mind? Isn't he famous for being a petty and calculating person? He didn't get to the position of city lord just by fighting. Perhaps better than anyone he understands what Lambhan's appearance means for our Showdown county. Indeed, if a genius like Lambhan were to actually die, the ones who would suffer the greatest loss would be Liu Tiezhu and Showdown county. Therefore, he didn't mind losing face to you. On the contrary, he wanted to do his best to nurture this talent. That night, after cleaning up and bandaging his wounds, Trin Fong pulled Lambhan into his room to talk. What he was most concerned about was how you were able to obtain a human form origin beast. But Lambhan wasn't good at making up stories, and he certainly couldn't reveal the truth that he was the reincarnated demon emperor, so he could only give a perfunctory answer. Seeing this, Trin Fong didn't press further and changed the subject. Do you know why City Lord Liu suddenly changed his attitude toward you today? I found it strange too. Could it be that he likes me? Lambhan replied hesitantly. No way, he once said that besides me there could be no one else. After saying that, Trin Fong realized his slip of the tongue. The atmosphere froze and he quickly corrected himself. Oh, I was just distracted and blurted that out. Don't take what you just heard seriously. Then Trin Fong got straight to the point by spreading a map on the table. On it were drawn the 6 counties of Tuangson Prefecture. Besides their Showdown county, there were 5 other counties, Kualang, Manhwa, Voquantang, and Fiolu, surrounding the capital city of Tuangson in the center. Every year a competition called the Martial Contest is held among these 6 counties. But because Showdown County has the fewest people, their performance over the years has always been either second to last or dead last. This year the Martial Contest will take place in a month. Originally they didn't have much hope, but Lambhan's appearance made them all feel that they could take a chance this year. After listening to his long explanation, Lambhan roughly understood the situation. So that's what it is. It turns out they want me to participate in the Martial Contest, he mumbled. That's right, a team of 3 will represent our county. If you can win this competition, it will be an absolute glory for your ancestors, and all the elders in the county will be honored because of you. It sounded impressive, but in reality it was all empty fame, which wasn't something Lambhan really needed. He then asked, I prefer something more practical. If I participate in this competition, are there any benefits I can gain? Trin Fong was momentarily speechless. This young man looked a bit goofy, but it seemed he wasn't easy to fool. He stammered in response, As for the benefits, I will go discuss it with the city lord. I'll give you an answer tomorrow. Lambhan returned with a feeling of disappointment. Did they think they could trick him into risking his life for Showdown County with just a few empty words? In their dreams, although such a competition is very useful for improving one's cultivation, he would only participate if he received a suitable prize. Moreover, if he got stronger too quickly, the beast girls like Kocha would become even more aggressive. Lambhan feared this happening the most. At the same time, he also teased the compendium of 9 provinces beast girls. My cultivation improving a bit slower means I don't have to risk my life to revive your demon race, right? This provocative attitude of his infuriated the book. You brats show some proper attitude. After saying that, it punched Lambhan, sending him flying straight into the wall. The houses in this era didn't seem very sturdy because where Lambhan hit, some bricks and stones crumbled away just enough for him to see Trin Meow Meow bathing inside. Seeing this, Lambhan immediately panicked, hastily explaining that it was all a misunderstanding and that he had just been knocked in here by a book. But this reason was too absurd for Trin Meow Meow to believe. The image she had built of Lambhan as an outstanding young talent quickly collapsed, replaced by that of a shameless pervert who peeks at others while they bathe. The key point was that only Lambhan could see the compendium of 9 provinces beast girls, so even jumping into the Yellow River couldn't clear his name with Trin Meow Meow. In a fit of anger, she summoned her 4-star origin beast, the Lingfeng water jellyfish affectionately known as Tungu. This origin beast might look small, but its attack power was no joke. Possessing ice attribute power, it puffed up its cheeks and blew out a breath with all its might. The moment the breath left its mouth, it instantly turned into huge sharp ice spikes piercing through the solid wall. If Kocha hadn't quickly escaped the confinement of the compendium of 9 provinces beast girls and pulled Lambhan away, he would have been skewered by those ice spikes. Trin Meow Meow was too ruthless. Luckily, Kocha was a fire attribute. Otherwise, if he didn't die from being pierced, he would have frozen to death. Lambhan escaped death, but Trin Meow Meow wasn't done yet. She hastily wrapped a towel around herself and chased after them with Tungu. As they got closer, the Lingfeng water jellyfish fired another barrage of ice bullets. Kocha quickly used her phoenix fire to help Lambhan block it. Wasn't it just one look? Why do you have to be so petty? She said indignantly to Trin Meow Meow, then turned back to express her devotion to Lambhan. You don't need to look at others. As long as my emperor wants to look at me, I can satisfy your request at any time. Lambhan sighed. Good heavens, can you focus on the fight a little more? Trin Meow Meow's ice bullets were firing continuously, yet she still had time to flirt with him. Seeing that Kocha was about to be hit by the ice bullets, Lambhan could only step in himself, using his fist to shatter the attack. The moment his bare hands touched the ice spewed by Tungu, Lambhan felt a piercing cold run through his body and shoot straight to his brain. The frost bullets, deflected by Lambhan, turned into a thin layer of ice on the floor. Trin Meow Meow, who was rushing forward, couldn't avoid it in time and slipped, falling backward. At this moment she was only wearing a single towel, so all her most private parts were seen by Lambhan in this position. Trin Meow Meow sat on the ground, clutching the edge of the towel, trying to cover herself, so angry that the corners of her lips trembled uncontrollably. You saw everything. In that awkward situation, Lambhan could only flash a confident smile and then play dumb. Since it's come to this, I don't want to hide it anymore. Actually, I'm blind. I didn't see anything at all. Of course, Trin Meow Meow didn't believe such a blatantly absurd lie. She even felt he was mocking her. Her anger reached its peak and she charged forward to attack with Tungu. This girl is a water attribute. If she combines with that octopus, they will launch an ice attack. If Lambhan didn't handle it properly, he could easily lose his life. Fortunately, at this moment, Hall Master Trin appeared just in time. What are you all doing? Are you trying to destroy the Votam Hall? Seeing her father, Trin Meow Meow stopped and put on a tearful face. She aggrievedly pointed at Lambhan, accusing him of being a pervert who peeks at others bathing. She was the one who brought Lambhan to the martial hall, and now she was the one kicking up a fuss, demanding Trin Fong to kick him out. Hall Master Trin calmly landed and told his daughter to go back to her room and get dressed properly first. I've witnessed the entire process. Don't worry, father will definitely get justice for you. Trin Meow Meow answered yes and left in humiliation. At this moment, Trin Fong's gaze shifted, fixing on Lambhan with a fierce expression. Lambhan, do you have anything else to say? Lambhan sighed helplessly. Who told him to possess that compendium of 9 provinces beast girls? And what's more, only he could see it. In that case, how could he possibly explain it properly? But suddenly something flashed in Lambhan's mind. Wait a minute. Trin Fong said he witnessed the entire process, which means he's been on the roof watching the show this whole time. This is not good. Lambhan vaguely realized the other party's intention. He wanted to use this matter to pressure him, to force him to participate in the martial contest. Although he knew what the other party was plotting, Lambhan couldn't avoid it. After all, there was no way to properly explain the fact that he saw Trin Meow Meow bathing. So Lambhan had to compensate for the girl's reputation by agreeing to participate in the 6-county martial contest. Having achieved his goal, Trinfong couldn't stop grinning. It was a waste that just yesterday Lambhan had considered him an upright gentleman. Now it seemed he was just a cunning old man. Specifically for that martial contest, each county needed 3 people to form a team. Lambhan was one, Trin Meow Meow was the second, the brightest star of Votam Hall, although yesterday's incident still made her resent him. Didn't you say it takes 3 people to form a team? Who's the third person? As soon as Lambhan finished asking, the main door was kicked open and a laugh more familiar than ever hit his eardrums. Kid, although you were lucky to escape with your life once you joined my team, you won't be so lucky anymore. As the team captain, I will definitely train you ruthlessly. And indeed it was this guy Lu Daidieu. However, he didn't get his wish because Trinfong announced that this year he would let Lambhan be the team captain. After all, he was the most powerful among the 3. The tables turned too quickly. Lambhan slyly tapped the leather whip in his hand using the same sentence Lu Daidieu had just used to threaten him back. Looks like I should give you some ruthless training, huh? Lu Daidieu threw a fit. He couldn't accept this because he had been the team captain for the past 3 years. He even threatened Trinfong that he would report this to Liu Tietru, but he still had to cruelly bring this arrogant guy back to reality. You can go ahead and tattle, but the city lord will probably support my decision anyway. Don't forget who your father beat you into the sky for yesterday. Lu Daidieu was immediately speechless because Hallmaster Trin was too right, he couldn't argue. Trin Meow Meow, who had been silent until now, finally spoke up because she found him so annoying, her tone extremely harsh as if she was taking out her anger for Lambhan on Lu Daidieu. Losing for 3 consecutive years and you still have the nerve to call yourself the captain. If you agree, stay. If not, get lost. Compared to Hallmaster Trinfong, Lu Daidieu was more afraid of this she-devil. The moment she shouted, his face turned pale. I was just casually asking. I agree, I definitely agree. Even though she had scolded Lu Daidieu, it didn't lessen Trin Meow Meow's anger. After thinking it over, she decided to lash out at Lambhan again. And you shut your mouth too if you let Showdown County lose face in front of everyone again this year? Then you'd better be prepared to atone with your death. After saying that, she stomped off resentfully. Lu Daidieu was very pleased to see this. At least he wasn't the only one being scolded. It's just that yesterday, Trin Meow Meow was wholeheartedly defending Lambhan. But now she looked like she wanted to tear him to pieces, making Lu Daidieu wonder what he had done to offend her. Oh, it's just a small misunderstanding. Last night when she was bathing, she wasn't careful and I saw everything, Lambhan replied nonchalantly. A giant question mark immediately appeared, and at the same time, countless steamy scenarios between the two flashed through his mind. Lu Daidieu's mood at this moment was hard to describe in just a few words. His goddess was seen completely naked while bathing by someone else. After processing the issue, Lu Daidieu was so angry his head was steaming. But before he could settle the score with Lambhan, Trinfong interrupted the young people's conversation. All right. The competition is only a month away. You must prepare well. A very important factor in battle is to have sufficient troops and supplies. Therefore, he told the 3 of them to go to the outskirts to Daihong Mountain to gather medicinal herbs to prepare for refining some pills, and also as a way for the 3 teammates to get to know each other. And so this seemingly mismatched combination headed towards Daihong Mountain together. Along the way, Lu Daidieu kept nagging Meow Meow, I heard that this is the time when the ironback bears appear. But don't worry, I will definitely protect you completely. My Aho upgraded to 3 stars last night. No need, Trin Meow Meow replied coldly. She only wished she could kick this guy far away right now. Despite being harshly rejected by the beauty, Lu Daidieu didn't give up. He arrogantly told Lambhan to go left and gather herbs by himself so he could have some private time with Trin Meow Meow on the right. Lambhan naturally agreed. He just didn't expect that Lu Daidieu, the young master of Showdown County, would stoop to being a simp to win the favor of the Votam Hall master's daughter. It was truly disgraceful. Lambhan actually quite liked going alone like this because then he could communicate freely with the Compendium of 9 Provinces Beast Girls without being seen as a madman. Not long after separating from the other 2, the book appeared as expected, dancing incessantly in front of him. Do you want to try refining the royal family's special great tonic? You're in your preparation phase right now, so trying this tonic will be greatly beneficial. Hearing that there was a good tonic, Lambhan naturally wouldn't refuse this opportunity. All right, tell me what herbs are needed, and I'll go find them right away. Daihong Mountain lived up to its reputation as a place with abundant spiritual energy. All sorts of rare medicinal herbs grew here. Before long, Lambhan had found all 8 types of herbs requested by the Compendium of 9 Provinces Beast Girls. Then they found a flat spot to sit down. Under the guidance of the book, Lambhan slowly circulated his energy to refine the herbs, absorbing the spiritual energy produced after they were fused into his body. He thought this would go smoothly, but Lambhan suddenly vomited blood. His eye sockets also started bleeding, and his chest burned with excruciating pain. The Compendium of 9 Provinces Beast Girls was also scared out of its wits seeing this. "I'm screwed, I totally miscalculated," it said in a panic. While you were absorbing the spiritual energy of the herbs, your body was also absorbing spiritual energy from the heavens and earth. Absorbing 2 streams of energy at the same time, your body definitely can't handle it. Lambhan was speechless. This book was truly unreliable. It only remembered such an important thing now. He quickly urged it to think of a solution, or else his body would explode. The Compendium of 9 Provinces Beast Girls was truly in a difficult situation. Since it had come to this, there was only one solution. It summoned Koka. Koka appeared with an extremely ravenous look before a Lambhan who was being consumed by energy. Letting Koka absorb the excess energy was the best solution, and she herself had been waiting for this moment for over 1,000 years. Now her wish was finally fulfilled, so she was overjoyed. Compared to the other 14 beast girls, she was the first one to have my emperor. At the scene of their important business, a 7-colored pillar of light like a rainbow appeared, shooting straight into the sky. Meow Meow and Diu, who were quite far away at the time, were still attracted by this strange phenomenon. They both wondered what kind of powerful herb Lambhan had found to be able to emit such a radiant light. However, such a large commotion would definitely attract ferocious beasts. Thinking this, Meow Meow wanted to go over and check it out for herself. When Lambhan groggily woke up, he discovered he wasn't wearing a single shred of clothing. His clothes were now loosely worn by Koka, whose half-exposed appearance was both extremely seductive and extremely satisfied. "Why did your clothes disappear?" Lambhan asked innocently. "How hateful, you're so good at playing dumb. Weren't my clothes brutally torn to shreds by you?" Koka replied in an aggrieved tone, but it was clear she was enjoying it immensely. Nearby the Compendium of 9 Provinces, beast girls kept exclaiming, "Tisk, this kid's stamina is pretty good." Lambhan scratched his head in confusion. Could it be that his first time ended so vaguely? What was even more devastating was seeing Koka so fully satisfied, yet he had no memory of it at all. Lambhan was truly panicking. Was his first time really that anticlimactic? But the book urged him, "Stop standing there scratching your head and get moving. After all, you just caused such a big commotion, it's easy to attract others here." "It wouldn't be good if you were seen." Koka nodded, then tried to stand up, but it seemed the two of them had been too intense as her body kept swaying. When she stood up straight, she got a cramp and fell right into Lambhan's arms. "What's wrong?" Lambhan asked honestly again. "Hateful. You know full well, and you're still asking." "Wait until I recover next time. I'll definitely make it so you can't even stand," Koka replied, her face beat red. This expression of hers really made it impossible for Lambhan not to think deeper. "For now, I'll take my leave to rest." As soon as she finished speaking, Soha turned into a red jade pendant. The Compendium of 9 Provinces. Beast Girls explained that from now on Lambhan could use this origin beast jade pendant to summon her just like Liu Tietru did yesterday. This time Koha almost couldn't handle it. It seems she's received great benefits. As the book said this, Lambhan sensed something unusual. "Someone's coming." He jumped off the cliff. This action scared the Compendium of 9 Provinces Beast Girls, but of course Lambhan wouldn't do something foolish. His feet landed on a very narrow protruding ledge, and he used his hands to cling tightly like a spider on a wall. The newcomer wasn't Meow Meow, so Lambhan absolutely didn't dare to breathe heavily. He saw this person approach the edge of the cliff and carefully survey the surroundings. "How strange," the voice came from above Lambhan's head. The spiritual energy suddenly vanished. Could it be that it sensed me approaching and fled? What kind of origin beast possesses such keen perceptive abilities? No, with such strong spiritual energy it can't be an origin beast. Someone must have found a top-grade spirit herb nearby. This newcomer's name was Duangmach from Huaivo County. It seemed Duangmach was a suspicious and cautious fellow, because even though he saw no one around, his eyes kept darting about, finally stopping on a bush not far away. Without a word, Duangmach immediately launched an attack in that direction. "Who is it? Come out." The boulder behind the bush was shattered into 100 pieces by his attack. Behind that rock were Meow Meow and Diu hiding. Seeing them, Duangmach sneered. "I was wondering who it was. Turns out it's the future star of Son Duong County. So it was you who found the top-grade spirit herb." Meow Meow didn't expect to meet this guy on Daihong Mountain, as he was from another county, and the lord of Tuongson Prefecture had clearly forbidden people from crossing county lines to steal resources. Furthermore, Lambhan was nowhere to be seen. Meow Meow became even more afraid, imagining the scenario where he had been killed by this scoundrel. Meanwhile, Lambhan was still hiding under the cliff. Through the conversation of the three people above, he vaguely understood that Duong Mach was a competitor from another county, but also just a weak scoundrel who came to someone else's territory to secretly steal spirit herbs. Accused by Trin Meow Meow, Duong Mach frowned in annoyance. I just came to find something. I didn't think you two would also come this way. Since you've caught me, I'll just have to make you two shut your mouths. After saying that, Duong Mach threw out 2 jade pendants hanging from his waist. Immediately his 2 origin beasts appeared. One was a 4-star Kien Nyan Vi, and the other was a 5-star Tao Diem Kuk Tuok. Lambhan remained still and observed. Compared to Liu Tietru yesterday, Duong Mach simultaneously releasing 2 origin beasts to fight was much cooler. It seemed he needed to learn this properly. On the other side, Trin Meow Meow and Lu Daidieu didn't back down, summoning their own origin beasts. How could there be a scoundrel in the world who would break into someone's house to steal and then want to beat up the owner? How could they tolerate that? Trin Meow Meow was a bit calmer. The opponent had 2 origin beasts, and they also had 2, so she clearly divided the tasks. Tiangu would use its attribute advantage to deal with the firebird first, while the 4-star hedgehog would be for Lu Daidieu's Aho. But Duong Mach maintained his smug demeanor, even sneering. Your fighting style is too outdated. As soon as he finished speaking, the Taodiem Kuk Tuok blew a burst of flame towards the Kien Nyan Vi. Lambhan's eyes widened in surprise at this maneuver, and Trin Meow Meow and Lu Daidieu couldn't hide their astonishment either. Using one's own origin beast to attack another of one's own origin beasts. What kind of strange battle plan is this? At the same time in Huaivo County, a guard from the city lord's mansion had just arrived to report that Deputy City Lord Duong Mach was not in the city. The person being reported to was a young woman. After hearing the news, she didn't react much, just remarking, "Oh, that Duong Mach is causing trouble again." After using this rather strange method, the hedgehog curled into a ball and rolled straight towards Aho. Aho couldn't dodge in time and was sent flying. Then the flaming Kien Nyan Vi changed direction and charged straight towards Trin Meow Meow and Lu Daidieu. Trin Meow Meow quickly brought out Tiangu using its skill to create an ice shield, but it was useless. The hedgehog curled into a spiky ball, already had powerful destructive force, but now infused with heat from the firebird, it sinks to I seem to have become dirty. Pinchvam. Tiangu's ice shield couldn't stop it and was ultimately heavily damaged. Duong Mach was extremely pleased to see this. He pointed a thumb at himself and said, "See that? This is real combat technique. Your one-on-one tactics are long outdated." Seeing the situation was bad, Lu Daidieu told Trin Meow Meow to run and get help while he held off the enemy here. But Trin Meow Meow felt they should split up and run, that way at least one of them could escape. But as they began to split up and run in 2 directions, Duong Mach didn't seem rushed at all, because he knew their legs couldn't outrun the wings of the Tao Diem Kuk Tuok. The firebird flew over and blew a scorching flame to block their path. Trin Meow Meow was so angry she gritted her teeth, while Lu Daidieu was so scared he was a crying mess. "We're really done for this time. Boo-hoo, unless a god appears, we're definitely going to die." At this moment, a super handsome god really did appear. Lambhan had hidden long enough, and now it was time for his powerful counterattack. So Lambhan swooped down from the sky, delivering a kick to the hedgehog that knocked it out instantly. As soon as they saw him, both Trin Meow Meow and Lu Daidieu were so moved they made their most exaggerated expressions. "Lambhan, so you're not dead?" Especially Lu Daidieu, he suddenly felt that this Lambhan was so handsome, so cool and not hateful at all anymore. Seeing them standing there stunned, Lambhan couldn't help but remind them, "Why are you still standing there? Hurry back and report this. Just leave this place to me." Without waiting for Lambhan to say it a second time, Lu Daidieu grabbed Trin Meow Meow's hand and fled, not forgetting to call back, "Good luck, Captain, but don't push yourself too hard. Just hold him off. We'll call for reinforcements soon." Now only Lambhan and Duong Mach were left facing each other. Seeing him appear, he gave a sinister smile. "Kid, you've been hiding nearby this whole time, haven't you? The spirit herb that released that immense spiritual energy earlier was taken by you, wasn't it?" Lambhan didn't understand what he was talking about. What spirit herb? Wasn't the thing that released immense spiritual energy earlier the scene of him and Koka getting it on? "You're exaggerating. Although mine isn't small, it's not quite immense," he replied. "Stop playing dumb with me. Hand it over now, or else don't blame me." Duong Mach shouted, then immediately ordered his origin beast to charge. This one-man, two-beast formation was certainly new. Lambhan felt he definitely had to learn it. Then Lambhan also quickly summoned Koha. After a full rest, she was full of vitality. The moment Duangmach saw Chokha, his eyes lit up. A human form origin beast. I never expected a disciple from such a terrible hall to possess a human form origin beast, and such a seductive one at that. I've really found a treasure today. Saying that, he took out a crystal bracelet capable of assessing an origin beast's strength. However, when the result appeared, he was shocked into silence because the result showed that Kokha was an 8-star origin beast. Even Lambhan was surprised by this. When did you become an 8-star? It was just now when you erupted, Kokha replied with a suggestive expression. Lambhan was even more astonished after hearing this. Kokha had actually leveled up 4 stars from just one round. This effect was too astonishing. While the two were still talking, Duangmach's Firebird tried to launch a sneak attack. The power gap between the two sides was too obvious. Even if he wanted to stop his origin beast, it was already too late. The moment the Firebird spat out a flame, Kokha sneered, "You dare to be proud in front of me with just this little bit of fire. How embarrassing." After saying that, she gathered her power and shot out a huge flame as scorching hot as volcanic lava. Although they were both fire-type origin beasts, the gap in their strength was truly terrifying. Meanwhile, Trin Meow Meow and Lu Daidio had just reached the foot of the mountain. When they saw the terrifying flames erupting from the summit, they were extremely worried, fearing it was Duangmach's attack. But they couldn't imagine the scene on the mountaintop now, where Kokha's attack had torn up a large patch of flat ground, creating a crater as wide as a pond. As for Duangmach, he had been burned so badly that his original form was unrecognizable. His origin beasts were also severely injured and had to return to their jade pendant state to recuperate. Duangmok ran while crying, vowing that he would definitely seek revenge and kill Lambhan before the martial contest officially began. Duangmach ran very fast and disappeared in a flash. Lambhan had to admit that he knew when to quit. When you can't win, you run. Now only Lambhan and Kokha were left on the mountaintop. She gracefully walked over, pretending to accidentally touch him. "My emperor, this place is secluded and there's no one around. I want to do that. Could you, please?" Lambhan clicked his tongue. This woman's mind was either on eating or sleeping, all base matters. But while his mouth was complaining, his hand was already reaching to undo his belt. However, just as they were about to get down to business, they heard a loud roar. Turning their heads, they saw that an ironback bear, a 4-star wild beast, had approached from behind at some point. Having their good time interrupted by a wild beast, Kokha was furious. She focused her power in her hands, creating a giant fireball and hurling it at the ironback bear. However, this direct attack didn't faze it at all. The ironback bear's entire body was intact without a single injury. The Compendium of 9 Provinces, Beast Girls, explained that the wild beast was an earth attribute, so wood or ice-type attacks would be more effective against it. Although Kokha could still burn it, it would take a bit of effort and would also waste the treasures on this wild beast. Therefore, the book told Lambhan the ironback bear's fatal weakness. Its back is the hardest part, but it is also its fatal point. Just attack the protruding vertebrae at the very bottom and it will surely die. Is it that simple? Lu Daidio said before that this ironback bear was very difficult to deal with, didn't he? Lambhan asked doubtfully. The ironback bear was once a city patrol beast for the demon capital. Such a weakness would definitely not be known to the world, so only I know it clearly. Hearing the Compendium of 9 Provinces, Beast Girl say this, Lambhan's eyes lit up. Immediately he ordered Kokha to attract the bear's attention. Following the order, Kokha attacked with a fire feather barrage. Just as planned, the ironback bear focused all its attention on her. When it changed its direction of attack, it also exposed its fatal weakness to Lambhan. He leaped up with all his strength, then aimed straight for the weak point the book had told him about, stabbing forcefully with his 4 fingertips brought together. The ironback bear's movements immediately stopped like a machine that had run out of battery, and then it collapsed completely. Clearly it was dead. It's just that this ironback bear wasn't the only one, because from deep within the forest they were coming in a pack. However, to Lambhan this was not a threat, but rather an opportunity to get rich. Meanwhile, Trin Meow Meow and Lu Daidio had returned to the martial hall. They hurriedly recounted the ambush on the mountain, but Liu Tietru just sat there chilling and drinking tea, because he knew Duangmach was no ordinary person. Recently he had been exceptionally promoted to become the Deputy County Lord of Hoaivo County. But anyone who wants to become the Deputy City Lord must be appointed by the City Lord for it to be valid. This also means that Yang Mai's backer is the Prefecture Lord. So if a conflict arises now, it would ruin the futures of both Liu Tieju and Shanyang County. Furthermore, he has also sent people to scout the mountain. If there are no accidents, there will be 3 possible outcomes. First, Lin Xin loses the fight, which would be perfect to crush his soaring spirit. making him obediently focus on his studies and achieve the best result in the upcoming martial contest. Second, Lin Xin is killed by Yang Mai. Although it's a pity to lose a talent, Liu Tiezhu could use this opportunity to seek some benefits from the prefecture lord because, after all, once a murder has occurred, the prefecture lord can't be too obvious in his protection. Finally, Lin Xin is the one who wins. If so, this is the best option as he can use this to intimidate the other counties, making them give up the idea of taking advantage of our Shanyang county. What if Lin Xin really wins and the prefecture lord feels humiliated? Would he spare our county? Liu Dadia wondered again. Hearing this question, Liu Tiezhu laughed loudly. How could I not have thought of this problem? 3 years ago, the prefecture lord told me to prepare 100 ironback bears to offer to the sovereign as city-guarding beasts. After several years of breeding, the number of ironback bears on Great Bear Mountain has become quite substantial. This is the perfect time for me to offer all of them to the prefecture lord. Once he is pleased, not only will he not punish us, but he might even reward me. The more he spoke, the more smug Liu Tiezhu felt about his godlike calculations. No matter which scenario happened, he would not be the one at a disadvantage. But life is always full of variables, and Lin Xin was City Lord Liu's variable this time. Soon after the scout he sent to Great Bear Mountain returned, bringing news that Lin Xin had defeated Yang Mai. Liu Tiezhu laughed triumphantly. Ha ha ha, I really didn't misjudge him. Men prepared to go up the mountain to capture bears as a gift for the prefecture lord. Just then Liu Tiezhu's scout whispered in his ear, City Lord, you don't need to go capture them anymore. All the ironback bears on Great Bear Mountain have been finished off by Lin Xin. Not a single one is left. Liu Tiezhu clutched his chest, wailing resentfully. Why? The people standing around assessed the situation. The city lord is having a heart attack from anger, plus all his plans have gone up in smoke. To put it simply, he's having a mental breakdown. A subordinate urged, then hurry up and get the medicine. The other three sighed. Whoever tied the bell must untie it. A sickness of the heart must be treated with a medicine for the heart. Suddenly Meow Meow pushed the door open, pulled Lin Xin in and shouted, Lin Xin is back! Although his face was covered in bruises, he still complained, I was having fun killing those guys, why did you drag me back? Seeing this, Liu Tiezhu's whole body suddenly shot up on the spot like an ancient Egyptian mummy. The physician saw this and said, The Beltier has arrived. He glared, putting on a dangerous expression, and growled as he questioned Lin Xin. Why did you kill the ironback bears that I worked so hard to raise? Lin Xin shrugged, feigning innocence. I didn't know you were raising those bears. Besides, no one told me I couldn't kill them. She could only sigh, adding another reason, because a normal person couldn't possibly kill over 100 of them in half a day. Liu Tiezhu went mad, raising his hands high, his anger flaring as he accused. I could have become the deputy prefecture lord with those bears. You've ruined everything. It wouldn't be a pity if you died. Meow Meow immediately rushed to block Lin Xin, making an excuse. City Lord, calm down. If Lin Xin can defeat Yang Mai, he can achieve a good result in the 6-county martial contest. At that time, the prefecture lord will surely think highly of you. Hearing these comforting words, his anger gradually subsided and his breathing slowed. Liu Tiezhu gritted his teeth and thought for a moment. He snorted coldly. Having no other choice, he had to go along with it. At this point, killing you won't do any good. I can only bet everything on the martial contest. Dadiao behind him took the opportunity to threaten. Did you hear that? If you don't get first place, you can just castrate yourself. He rubbed his chin and agreed. I agree to fight, but I never said I would get first place. Don't think I owe you anything. I even took a punch from you for no reason before. Meow Meow was speechless and could only say his name, Lin Xin. Seeing this, Dadiao slapped Liu Tiezhu's back and suggested, look at how arrogant this kid is. Father, we can't tolerate this anymore. We have to teach him a lesson. As soon as he finished speaking, he received a warning look from Lin Xin. Dadiao was so scared by this attitude that he trembled, whining, I was just kidding. He narrowed his eyes and shouted, how dare you threaten my son in front of me? You have some nerve. If you can defeat Yang Mai, you definitely have the strength to compete for the championship. Tell me, what will it take to make you use your full strength? Lin Xin sat with his legs crossed and negotiated. We're all adults, so there's no need to beat around the bush. If I win the championship, what benefits can you give me? Liu Tiezhu crossed his arms and offered 10,000 gold. He quickly dismissed it. I'm not interested in money. Hearing this, Meow Meow praised him inwardly. This guy's not bad. He suggested something else. Beauties? Lin Xin refused immediately. I have enough beauties. This made her jaw drop and she uttered a single heartbroken word. Liu Tiezhu lost his patience. You're just being difficult. You don't want money and you don't want beauties, so what exactly do you want? Are you messing with me? He raised one finger, getting straight to the point. I want the cultivation technique you practice, the rushing thunder art. Recalling last night, a voice echoed in the small room. Shujia, this celestial core holy body of mine, only has strength, but no ultimate moves, which is quite annoying. Lin Xin lay on the bed, scheming. Can you teach me some powerful moves? The Shujia, lying beside him, shook her head and refused. The demon clan does have many supreme techniques, but I don't have any records of them here. Seeing this, he was certain, so I can only rely on brute force to create miracles in a fight. It vaguely revealed, but there is someone with a technique that is very suitable for you to learn. Shujia recounted. That day you fought Liu Tieju, I saw that he used the Thunder Leopard clan's ultimate technique, the rushing thunder art. Lin Xin listened intently. In his hands, this move can't even display 1% of its power. But it would be more suitable if you practiced this technique, he thought with a headache. The only problem is, why would he pass the rushing thunder art on to me? Back in reality, Lin Xin smiled at his own plan. Meow Meow behind him was a little suspicious. I don't even know what technique City Lord Liu practices, so how does Lin Xin? Liu Tieju, with sharp eyes, leaned in and questioned him. The rushing thunder art is a secret of the Liu family. Even Dadiao doesn't know about it? So how did you find out? At the same time, Dadiao cried out resentfully, why didn't you let me cultivate it sooner? Am I not your biological son? He smiled brightly and gave a random reason. A master must have pointed it out to me. So is this condition acceptable? He slammed his fist into the wall behind him, roaring angrily, in your dreams. The rushing thunder art is a divine technique passed down in my Liu family for 1,000 years. How could I possibly give it to an outsider like you? Lin Xin suggested. Then how about we become sworn brothers? Liu Tieju arrogantly turned away, rejecting. Absurd. I'm already used to losing. At worst we'll just be last in the martial contest again. Suddenly a subordinate rushed in, shouting, Report! The man clasped his hands in a salute and relayed the news. Report. The prefecture lord has announced that to encourage the heroic spirit of the 6-county martial contest, the city lord of the county that wins this year's championship will be promoted to deputy prefecture lord. After hearing this, the entire room fell into an unusually quiet and calm silence. He called out softly, Dadiao. The latter behind him pointed to himself and volunteered with determination, Father, you can rest assured and give me the rushing thunder art. I will definitely win the championship. Liu Tieju put on an adorable expression, his tone syrupy sweet. The competition is less than a month away. During this time you must practice diligently with your second uncle. I've been missing a younger brother all my life and didn't know where to find one. I only regret that we've only met today. This sentence made Dadiao freeze his head full of question marks. He was like a shunned stepchild in the family. Dadiao hugged his knees, his heart filled with resentment. Meow Meow couldn't help but judge his retreating back. Liu Dadiao doesn't seem to be in a good mood. Lin Xin scratched his head and stammered, I just said that casually. I didn't expect Liu Tieju to actually become my sworn brother. She quickly went over to comfort him. Dadiao, cheer up, we should start training. Time is really pressing. Dadiao weakly covered his face and sobbed, whimpering, but I really can't accept this. He put his hands on his hips and persuaded with a smile, how about this, we'll just call each other our own way. I'll call you Brother Diao and you'll call me second uncle. He refused, turning back with tears and snot streaming down his face to argue, I'm still the one getting the short end of the stick. And suddenly a familiar voice called out, Young people. Attracting their attention, Liu Tieju, with the mindset of a proper deputy prefecture lord in custom-made training clothes, urged we must seize the time. Don't waste your youth on idle chit-chat. Let me train with you. The other two were unimpressed by his potbelly. Lin Xin mumbled, I really want to gouge my own eyes out. Isn't Hallmaster Cheng supposed to be training us? He twirled a green coin in his hand, smiling smugly. Cheng Feng is too soft-hearted, he won't achieve anything. As the competition's prize increases, so will the difficulty. A second later, Liu Tieju clenched it and declared, therefore your training will also be intensified. In all of Shanyang County, who else can teach you besides me? With that, he threw the coin hard onto the ground, causing a mysterious green spiritual energy to flash while shouting, here comes the ultimate move. The 9-star Thunder Tiger Spirit Beast immediately appeared with a fierce aura. Liu Tieju laughed heartily in welcome. It's been a while since I let Afu out. Meow Meow looked down at the green circle on her hand and exclaimed in surprise, a 9-star Spirit Beast. This is the first time I've ever seen one. He assessed the situation. So he was holding back with that purple crystal mantis last time. Dadia was dizzy and pleaded, "Father, you're being too over the top. Normal competitions only have 6-star spirit beasts appearing. Do you really need to bring out a 9-star spirit beast to torture us?" He immediately cursed, "You idiot, this year the counties will do everything they can to upgrade their competing spirit beasts. There will be plenty of 9-star spirit beasts. If you keep thinking like that now, you might as well just wait to die." After speaking, Liu Tieju slapped Afu's rear, and it immediately shot forward after the command, "Afu, go!" Seeing Afu charging towards her at the speed of light, Meow Meow dodged to the side while warning, "Lin Xin, get out of the way." Without hesitation, it raised its claws, followed by several streaks of green lightning, looking very fierce. Afu stomped hard on the ground. It raised its head and roared, directing the lightning power straight at the two of them. Lin Xin's entire body was smoking as he thought to himself, lightning-type attacks are truly impossible to defend against. Meanwhile, Dadiao was lying flat on his back. Liu Tieshu grinned contemptuously. "Afu alone has made you this pathetic, and you still want to win the championship." Dream on! Meow Meow quickly summoned Xiaowu. He also released GK. Dadiao backed away to keep his distance and called Ahu. Afu charged again, but this time she aimed her palm at it and shouted, "Xiaowu, lock its movements." A stream of turquoise energy was quickly released. It rushed towards Afu as if it wanted to eat its opponent alive. Instantly the ferocious beast was frozen, its forelegs held fast. Dadiao seized the opportunity to act. Ahu charge! Only then did Lin Xin manage to warn ice can conduct electricity. Soon as he spoke, the electric current traveled from the ice at its feet to her. This time, Meow Meow was hit so hard she was smoking, unable to react in time. Afu opened its mouth wide, roaring several rings of lightning power towards Ahu. Seeing this, it let out a meow and scurried back to its master. Dadiao was helpless and could only scold, "Can't you show some manly spirit like me?" It was GK's turn. She aimed her palm forward, creating a blazing red flame vortex. Liu Tieju was a bit confused, muttering, "You have to pay attention to attributes and levels. A fire-type spirit beast can't injure a high-level lightning-type spirit beast. Training with you idiots is really a waste of my time." And yet Afu was battered by that energy, sent flying several circles and knocked backward. It landed with a ferocious face, its butt in the air, to his utter astonishment. Lin Xin clenched his fist, standing in the flames, and provoked, "The flames can't hit it, but my fists can. If you don't want to waste time, then you should come at me too." Liu Tieju frowned, wondering, "You want me and my spirit beast to attack together? What are you trying to do?" A flame of eagerness to learn ignited within him as he explained, "The spirit beast and its master can form an alliance through some method, right? Last time I almost got to see Yang Mai use it, but he was scared off by my spirit beast, so I want to broaden my horizons a bit." Hearing this, he covered his face and chuckled mockingly, "You little brat, you're quite interesting. All right then, I'll go against the teachings of my ancestors and tell you about the human-beast cooperation form." Lin Xin's mouth twitched as he repeated the words human-beast, his mind imagining a scene of Afu cuddling Liu Tieju. At this moment he leaned back, summoned his pet in front of him and shouted, "Watch closely." Meow Meow looked at the two radiating spiritual energies and exclaimed, "The City Lord has a very intense lightning attribute spiritual aura." He still didn't understand and said, "Is human-beast cooperation about transferring the spirit beast's attribute into one's own body?" Lin Xin rubbed his chin and ordered, "Meow Meow, check the Thunder Tiger's level." She looked at the orb in her hand and said in surprise, "Why has it dropped to 6-star? Liu Tieju gently patted Afu and explained, "The spirit beast itself has an enormous amount of core energy, but it transfers that core energy to its master through a tether. After receiving most of the core energy, I can break through my previous cultivation level." Lin Xin compared it to an external power supply and thought to himself, "Isn't that just a power bank?" He continued on, "But there is also a drawback. After losing most of its core energy, the spirit beast will enter a weakened state, and if it's sneak attacked, it will surely die." Liu Tieju looked down at Afu lying shyly on the ground and continued, "And the master on the other end of the tether will also be injured. That's why those at the heavenly core realm normally wouldn't learn this move before. You can try, but absolutely do not use it recklessly unless it's a critical moment." Meow Meow and Dadiao also felt the spiritual energy of their spirit beasts as he instructed, "Carefully feel the fluctuation of the core energy in your spirit beast, achieve synchronization with them, and let your consciousness enter the spirit beast's body." Hearing this, Lin Xin turned and suggested, "Jika, let's try too." Jika immediately complied, "Yes, my king." She instantly changed into a maid outfit and said shyly, This servant is ready. He grabbed his lower body and roared, "Not that kind of trying. Change your clothes back quickly." Jika, confused, pointed at herself and asked, "Didn't you want to enter?" Linshin frantically emphasized, "Consciousness. Consciousness enters." "What did you think I said?" Only then did she realize, her face flushing red as she apologized. "Sorry, I thought... So embarrassing." Dadiao pursed his lips and thought to himself, "I'll never look at the word enter the same way again." Suddenly Cheng Feng appeared behind them and said, "The first round of the martial contest has been announced. Our opponent is Huaiwu County." Lin Xin blurted out in surprise, "What a coincidence." He recounted the events. "The Huaiwu City Lord said we trespassed into Huaiwu County's territory and even attacked Yang Mai." Cheng Feng clasped his hands behind his back and continued, "The Prefecture Lord originally wanted us to have a direct confrontation, but the Huaiwu City Lord said he wanted to settle the grudge in the arena. Therefore the Prefecture Lord assigned the two of us to fight in the very first round." Hearing this, Liu Tieju scowled and cursed. "That bastard! They dare to play the victim after being the aggressor." Dadiao crossed his arms and added, "Even more shameless than me." Meow Meow also complained angrily, "They were clearly the ones who trespassed on Great Bear Mountain, and now they're twisting the facts." He rubbed his chin and thought, originally it was about how to punish them, now it's turned into who should be punished. Lin Xin suspected they just want to stir up trouble. "We don't need to be led by the nose. We just need to focus on winning the competition." He looked at him judgmentally, seeing the essence of the matter at a glance. "I didn't expect this kid's thinking to be so clear." Meanwhile, Lin Xin was asking Cheng Feng, "Is there any information about their competing team members yet?" He quickly replied, "That's a secret for each county, so we don't know yet." He glanced to the side, wondering, "But Yang Mai already knows all about us. We're already at a disadvantage from the start." Suddenly Liu Tieju beat his chest and declared, "Leave it to me." Yes, he shouted excitedly, "On the day of the competition, I'll even find out what color underwear they're wearing for you." Lin Xin took out a basic storage pouch that could hold 30 catties with a market price of 10 gold coins from his robe and said, "Next we must strive to improve our spirit beasts and our own cultivation. I have something good for you." He poured out several bottles, saying, "I use the ironback bears to refine all sorts of medicinal pills. If you need any, take them yourselves." Dadiao's jaw dropped. "My God!" Meow Meow was also impressed. "These are all great supplements." Liu Tieju threw himself into Cheng Feng's arms, crying as he softly called, "My ironback bears." "My deputy prefecture lordship." He patted his head and advised, "Look on the bright side. At least the kids can use them to nourish themselves." Suddenly Cheng Feng saw Lin Xin turn to leave and asked, "Lin Xin, aren't you going to cultivate?" But he replied casually, "I'm going back to get something." As Lin Xin walked, he thought, Meow Meow's and Dadiao's spirit beasts can at most reach 6-star before the match. But our opponent's spirit beasts will likely all break through to 6-star, and 9-star ones might even appear. I'll still have to rely on GK. He once again took a small bottle from his robe, muttering, "Looks like I need to." Lin Xin didn't hesitate and chugged it down, thinking determinedly, "Drink a bottle of wine. As long as I have the stamina, I'll go all out." After finishing the bottle, his face turned red and his breathing became ragged. Lin Xin looked at the blazing red coin in his hand, and without hesitation, he threw it towards the bed, summoning Jike. The space suddenly flashed with a brilliant white light. She immediately appeared in a sexy nurse's outfit, her tone seductive. "My king, what can this servant do for you?" Lin Xin panted, taking off his shirt, and ordered, "Something big has happened. We must win the 6-county martial contest." Like a hungry tiger, he leaped into the air and declared, "So I'll have to trouble you to level up 3 more times." Lin Xin's eyes shone like stars as he thought, "This time I must savor the taste thoroughly. 1 moment of spring passion is worth 3 stars. Just as he was about to pounce on Jika, Shujia appeared and stopped him. "Don't!" And it put its hands on its hips and warned, leveling up 3 times in one go. "Where in the world is there such a good deal? Overdoing it will cause problems," Lin Xin roared back. "I've been absorbing core energy for 2 days. It's definitely enough." Shujia turned and pointed at the other one. "I'm talking about GK." She asked in surprise. "Huh?" It explained, "GK needs at least 2 months to fully absorb the core energy you gave her, otherwise she'll die. If it's too intense, she won't be able to handle it. You'll just have to endure it for these 2 months." This made him want to turn to stone on the spot. Lin Xin turned around crying, "Fine, I get it. I've made it through 18 years. What's 2 more months? Jika gently touched her lips, thinking of a way. "Wait, if this servant can't do it, can we release another sister to help?" Her eyes welled with tears as she gave her reason. Of course, this servant is unwilling, but the mission my king carries is too heavy. GK's eyes glistened, her tone dejected. How could this servant delay the revival of the demon clan for my own selfish reasons? I only ask that in the future, even when you are surrounded by women, you will still remember GK. Hearing this, Linshin stopped tears streaming down his face as he exclaimed, "Jika, you are too kind." He rushed to embrace her. Jika whispered, "Although it's a good idea, it's not possible." Linshin asked, in confusion, why. Shujia interrupted. The core energy needed to release a beast girl doubles each time. It emphasized, with your current core energy, you'll need to absorb for another 20 days at least. Linshin roared angrily, 20 days. We're about to compete. We can't waste time on this. Shujia shrugged and replied nonchalantly, then wait. She showed off her seductive curves and suggested, what if we add my core energy? He was thunderstruck, suspecting, you mean using that human-beast cooperation method? Jiki Shujia hesitated. This maybe we can try it once. Jike's spirits lifted, calling out, My king, then you should try. Linshin exclaimed in embarrassment, You're treating me so well, I'm starting to feel a little guilty. Actually, we don't need to rush to draw the second beast girl. Jike's eyes shone with adoration, her tone decisive. When you participate in the martial contest, it's definitely better to have more spirit beasts. In spirit beast battles, attribute counters are extremely important. Having one more attribute type gives you a better chance of winning. He was very pleased, but still coughed a few times before agreeing, All right then, let me give it a try. Immediately GK sat in front, radiating a brilliant red spiritual energy. Linshin behind her summoned a golden energy. Shugya in the middle looked around and shouted, The tether has appeared. The two sources of energy flew into the air and collided. She leaned back, pursed her lips, and chanted, I offer all of my core energy. King. He was also hit directly by this spiritual energy, and it was so powerful that his nose started bleeding. Shugya was a bit apprehensive watching this scene. When it was done, it shouted, That's enough. Draw the new beast girl. Linshin, full of vigor, held it and shouted, Open for me. The word me echoed in the air as Shujia gradually opened, emitting magical golden lights. Jika lay weakly on the bed out of breath. She looked up at the newly appeared woman, surprised, and thought to herself, I didn't expect it to be you, sister. Someone's beautiful feet gradually touched the ground. She, shy in her pure white dress, spoke, Beast girl, Nannai paying respects to my king. The scene changes to the training ground. Dadia was holding Ahu's paw and giving a command. Ahu attacked, and the wooden post in front of them was instantly cut in half. After a period of hard training, both man and beast were out of breath. He thought to himself, The spiritual energy consumption is too great. Luckily, I have pills to replenish it. Dadiao started to complain. Where did Linshin run off to? We're training our butts off here. Did he sneak off to take a nap? Meow Meow glanced in that direction and reminded him, Don't talk nonsense. He must be training twice as hard somewhere. Her cheeks flushed as she thought, I have faith in him. On Linshin's side, Jika was gently hugging Nannai's shoulder, introducing her, This servant and Nannai are best friends. This servant is very happy to have her serve you. She was too shy to look at him, her voice hesitant. Please, my king. Linshin coughed a few times and said, We just met and we have to... Do that already? Isn't this a bit too fast? He said to himself. This hunger is hard to endure. Their names are just too perfect for this situation. Shujia furiously pushed Linshin over there, shouting, Stop being so coy. Pinned down by Linshin, she put on an adorable expression. Seeing this, his face turned beet red and his nose started to bleed. For some reason, Linshin grabbed his head and ran off. Abandoning ship, I can't do it. Jika called out in a daze, My king, Shujia sighed. This guy running away at the critical moment. She still didn't understand and turned to ask, What's wrong with my king? Nana knelt down, grabbing the bedsheet, and blamed herself. Is Nana not beautiful? She cried sorrowfully, My king, it's all my fault. Jika quickly sat beside her, patting her head to comfort her. No, Nanai, don't overthink it. I know why he ran away. Nanai asked softly, Why? Her eyes shone like a star's as she plotted, Because he likes surprises. You just need to prepare yourself. Time passed, and the evening twilight gradually fell. Linhin sat alone, leaning against the pillar, sighing in frustration. Shujia suddenly appeared from behind the pillar and asked, What's wrong with you? Running away at the critical moment. He held his head and admitted, Shujia, although I'm a pervert, I'm not that casual of a person. Linshin scratched his head and gave a reason. At least after we get to know each other. On our first meeting, I really can't do it. It smiled in praise. Impressive, I didn't expect you to be a man of such principles. Worthy of the reincarnated demon emperor, very virtuous. Shujia advised, but Nannai is an introverted and sensitive child. Your sudden departure will make her feel extremely guilty. You should go back and explain it to her clearly. He had no choice but to agree. All right then. Lin Xin quickly returned. He stood before the door and mumbled, once it's said, can I take it back? Xiaoqisi is already an ice attribute, drawing another ice attribute is a bit redundant. It dismissed him. Give up that thought. Whoever you draw is who you get, you can't be picky. Lin Xin sighed, pushed the door open and called softly, Nannai. At that moment the two of them were changing each other's clothes. Jiga complained, you should knock before entering. He embarrassedly covered his eyes and shouted frantically, Sorry, I didn't know you were changing. Nannai also grabbed the hem of her dress to run away, crying out, so embarrassing, when the one below warned Naina, don't move. Out of inertia she trembled and tripped, letting out a yelp, ah. Hearing this, Lin Xin peeked and asked loudly, what's wrong? And it turned out the two of them had fallen on top of each other in a somewhat ambiguous position. His eyes lit up, nose bleeding profusely as he thought, a pear blossom pressing on a crabapple. How can anyone handle two girls playing like this? To get through this, I can only say I didn't see anything. Seeing this, the two beauties cried out in alarm. My king, why is your nose bleeding? It's all my fault. Unbeknownst to them, an intruder had broken in on the roof outside the room. In the small room, Nannai knelt and offered a handkerchief to wipe Lin Xin's nose, saying softly, Nainai understands your intentions. Nainai will try her best to perform until you like Nainai. He looked at that seductive body, his mind went blank, and he could only reply softly, okay. Jika was happy to see them getting along. It's so wonderful to be able to serve you alongside Nainai. Suddenly her eyes darted to the side as if she had detected something strange. Jika shot forward shouting, my king, be careful. Something is approaching very fast. Instantly a vortex outside was crashing through the window to get in. She quickly launched a fire shield towards it, scoffing, trying to sneak attack. Not a chance. Jika's energy immediately enveloped the strange, sharp, continuously spinning object. She didn't give up, aiming 2 fingertips at it and shooting out a fire lotus letter. Just like that, small sparks followed Jika's tiny fingers, shooting out wherever they moved. Seeing the imminent danger, Nannai also rushed up to help. Xiaoke, I'm here to help you. Seizing the opportunity, the stranger instantly flew at the speed of light behind Lin Xin and whispered, got you. Hearing that voice, the two beauties turned their heads, their eyes widening as they screamed, ah! The person wasted no time and leaped high into the air, carrying him. Jika and Nanna called out worriedly, my king, my king. And the 4 of them jumped up to the rooftop together. Jika said, let him go. The person reached for his neck scornfully. You can't even defend against a sneak attack of this level, how ridiculous. Lin Xin glanced over and questioned, who are you? And the person quickly summoned the 6-spirit revolving bird. Following its master's call, it transformed into a revolving bird and flew out while replying, who I am is not important. What's important is that you have wasted the expectations I had for you. He was still puzzled. Why did you want to attack me? And the person tightened their grip on Lin Xin's neck again, making him cry out in pain. It hurts, hero, spare my life. GK, full of fighting spirit, threatened, if you dare to mess around again, I won't be polite with you. The stranger glanced over and questioned, who are you? How can you have 2 humanoid spirit beasts? Lin Xin hesitated, pretending to confess, the city Lord gave these to me. He told me to perform well and bring glory to Shenyang County. Hero, just treat me like a fart and let me go. The person dismissed him. He thinks he can order me around. I just came to test your level. The stranger continued, you have greatly disappointed me. In the future I will deal with you bit by bit in the arena. He turned his head and hit a nerve. So, you're one of the 3 contestants from Huaiwu County. If you assassinate an opponent before the competition, Huaiwu County will be disqualified, right? And the stranger used more force and roared, you're about to die and you're still talking tough. Now I only need to move a finger to crush you. But this time Lambhan's whole body emitted a brilliant golden energy that lit up the sky. He snarled and yelled, get lost! Koha then realized that so my king was deliberately pretending to be weak to lure him into talking. Namnai exclaimed happily, my king is so wise. He turned his head back and said smugly, even if I can't disqualify you from the competition, crippling one of Huaiwu district's great generals first is still a good thing. The tightly sealed clothes were instantly set ablaze by the fire. It turned out that person was Bach Hop. Her voice trembled, I can't believe you dared to trick me. Lambhan exclaimed in confusion. It's a girl. At the same time, two people ran over calling out, Lambhan, what was that sound just now? Hop was out of breath. Her face flushed as she requested, come over here for a moment. Quick, hold me tight. The scene changes to the edge of the roof. Daidu was peeking up to observe the situation. He was being supported by Aho to look around but only found a strange hole. There's no one but there's a hole in the roof. Meow Meow wondered, could it be that Lambhan had another breakthrough? Finishing her sentence, she ran off saying, I'll go get someone, you go up and search carefully. Daidu also slowly climbed onto the roof, agreeing, okay. On the other side, Hop was tremblingly sending a telepathic message, don't. She and Lambhan were in the gap between the room and the surrounding wall. Hop frowned and whispered, don't move around. While holding her side, I can barely breathe anymore. Lambhan's face turned beet red as Hop's charming bust pressed against his face. He thought back to the scene of her begging just now. Although Lambhan had refused, I can't let Meow Meow see me, she had pleaded. Just hold me and run away first. Back in reality, he silently wondered, just what is this girl's background? Then Hop bit her lip and moaned, you. Her whole body was drenched in sweat. Hop reminded him, don't move around, my leg is numb. Lambhan sighed and had to comply. All right, I won't move. Suddenly a voice came from the roof right above their heads. Strange. I clearly heard a sound. This made her quickly cover his mouth. It turned out to be Daidu talking to himself. This guy flew away. He felt dizzy and prayed silently, form is emptiness, emptiness is form. Brother, don't. Being in this situation, Lambhan could only blame his fate. I'm screwed. My destiny is in my hands, not heaven's. Its destiny is in its hands, not mine. Shh. Hop removed her hand from his mouth. She opened her eyes wide with suspicion. This is... Hop's pupils dilated to their maximum, sweat pouring down endlessly. The sky seemed to answer his words with a loud clap of thunder. Daidu on the roof was startled and complained, what is this devilish weather? And thunder too. He had no other choice but to quickly leave. Forget it, I'll go back first and we'll talk later. It was a powerful slap straight to Lambhan's face, accompanied by the condemnation, you pervert. Her face was flushed red as she hugged her body and scolded, you dare to take advantage of me? He was hit so hard he fell to the ground, frantically reaching out his hands to explain, I didn't do it on purpose. This is a normal male reaction. Hop wouldn't listen. She raised her hand again and snarled, still dare to make excuses. Just then a voice called out from the distance, Lambhan. He immediately recognized the voice, Meow Meow is here. You should run quickly, don't let her see you. Hop panicked and flew away, not forgetting to leave a final word, you just wait. We're not done yet. Seeing this, he let out a sigh of relief, thinking to himself, what bad karma. Meow Meow ran up from behind and asked worriedly, where did you run off to just now? What happened? After a minute, Lambhan shyly scratched his head and recounted, there was a guy who wanted to assassinate me. But speaking of which, Meow Meow, do you have any friends in Waivo district? A girl with a wind-type beast. Trin Fong and she were surprised, immediately guessing it was Hop. He asked curiously, you all know each other? Meow Meow put her hands on her hips, her tone sulky. Go ask my father. Father is closer to this woman than to me. He gave a forced laugh and denied it. I haven't seen her in many years either. She coldly punched the wall, causing it to shatter. Her tone made the two men want to cry out, sneaking around only knowing how to be secretive. Meow Meow, burning with anger, turned and left, muttering, just wait until we're in the arena, I'll definitely teach her an unforgettable lesson. Lambhan looked at the hole in front of him and lamented internally, but this is my room. Trin Fong's face darkened, and he immediately pleaded with Lambhan, I'm asking you for a favor. Help me stop Meow Meow in the arena, don't let anything happen between Meow Meow and Hop. He was a bit confused and asked, who is she exactly? His cheeks started to blush as he vaguely revealed, we're both men, you understand. When I was young, I had some... You know. He smirked, figuring it out instantly. Well, you old fox. I didn't expect you to have an illegitimate child. Tujia saw his cunning face and exclaimed in surprise, my king, it looks like he's about to start something. Time passed by. After a month of special training, the strength of Trin Meow Meow and Lu Daidu had improved by leaps and bounds. As for Lambhan, he also seized the last moments. Everyone looked at the X seal in front of the secluded training room with the sign, please do not disturb, and gossiped, Lambhan is really risking it all, I can't believe he's in secluded cultivation. This spirit truly earns people's admiration. That's right, what a hero. Inside, he was currently hugging two beauties, snoring loudly, using every second to nurture his relationship with Kokha and Namnai. Finally, the day of departure arrived. Tietru looked at the trio's outfits and praised, "Very good, very spirited." Meow Meow, however, was a bit shy about her short outfit. "Isn't this clothing a bit too small?" He laughed heartily and wished them well. "I won't say much more. I wish you a victorious return." Tringfang also clapped along. "All right, everyone, let's applaud." Lambhan coldly uttered a sentence. "Are you done talking? We're leaving. We still have to get to Tuongson Prefecture for dinner." He truly wasn't giving the other two any face at all. Thitru tried to smooth things over, pulling out a green coin to reassure them. "Don't worry this time. I'll let you fly there. It won't delay anything." Daidieu's eyes sparkled as he exclaimed, "Father, are you finally willing to let me ride the flying chicken?" He cluelessly wondered, "An airplane?" The man nodded in acknowledgement while tossing the coin. "That's right. A fantastic, one-of-a-kind, and extremely precious version of a beast that I have kept for many years." He cheered happily. Lambhan's eyes widened as he thought, "This world also has a 3-star beast, the flying chicken." Instantly his eyes looked like they were about to pop out as he shouted in amazement, "It really is a goddamn flying chicken." The group quickly climbed onto the flying chicken and soon arrived at Tuongson Prefecture. Members from Filu District and Huaivo District had gathered in large numbers. A woman heard some clucking sounds coming from outside and glanced over, asking, "What the hell is that?" The rest of the crowd also looked in that direction, speculating, "It seems to be people from Sonduong District," not long after the flying chicken landed. Everyone sneered, "Are they here to deliver boxed lunches? It's hideous." "No way, how can they have the face to ride something so ugly out in public? If it were me, I'd jump off halfway to my death." At the same time, a person in bright red clogs walked forward and announced, "The competition teams from the 6 districts have all arrived." That person was the Prefecture Lord's trusted subordinate, the steward. She continued, "I will now announce the format and rules for this year's 6 districts martial tournament." The people from Sonduong District flew down to the ground. Lambhan sighed, "Good, no one is paying attention to us." Meanwhile, the crowd was gathered in front listening. This year's martial tournament is divided into 2 rounds, the selection tournament and the arena tournament. The steward announced, "The previously announced bracket format is now cancelled. The competing teams will follow the staff to the selection tournament arena." Everyone couldn't help but be startled, exclaiming, "This? What?" The captain of Bakmang district complained, "You're only telling us about the format change now. Doesn't that mean all of our previous preparations were a waste?" She clenched her fist, generating her mystical energy, and warned, "Do the Prefecture Lord's arrangements need your approval? 1, you participate, 2, you pack up and get lost. Choose for yourselves." Hearing this, everyone fell so silent you could hear the wind whistle. The steward retracted her power and announced, "Very good. Captain, stay competing team members prepare to depart." On the other side, Duongvi spoke up. "Brother, why the sudden change of plans?" "Didn't you receive any news either?" Duongmach replied wearily. "I don't know, it seems like something unexpected happened." He glanced towards Lambhan's group, his tone scornful. "It's a pity the 3 wastes from Sonduong District couldn't fall into our hands." "Are they deliberately hiding information?" Trinfong added. "Our information is limited. We can only observe quietly." Tujia leaned into his ear and reported, "I just did a little eavesdropping. The people from Huaivo District are also confused. They didn't receive any news beforehand either." Lambhan rubbed his chin and explained, "It really is an unexpected situation. None of the 6 districts know the situation. Everyone is starting on the same line, just perform as usual." He gaped in amazement. "You even know this?" On the side of the Tuongson Prefecture, Lord Min Song Lu assessed the situation and spoke, "I didn't expect that my humble Tuongson Prefecture's martial tournament could interest the National Army, even calling you here to train." The dark figure in front of her flattered. "The 6 districts martial tournament of Tuongson Prefecture is also renowned in the Yanvan nation. It is our honor to participate. We have troubled the Prefecture Lord." Song Lu lightly lifted a lock of her hair, her tone full of schemes. "It's not really a bother. Adding 1 more team will only make the competition more exciting." She narrowed her eyes and said in a low voice, "It's just that these 18 individuals are all talented youths from our Tuongson Prefecture. I still ask the 3 of you to give me some face." The 3 people mentioned were Fongquin, Magde, and Tань Phuong. Song Lu glanced at the 3 people before her, emphasizing each word. "Don't let any deaths occur uninvited guests from the imperial capital." The scene changes to the Ghost Realm cave. In front of them was an extremely dangerous-looking cave. Daidio shouted in horror, "Are you kidding me? It's the Ghost Realm cave. They want us to go to our deaths." Lambhan put his hands on his hips and said calmly, "You know this cave. The Ghost Realm cave is the most mysterious cavern in Tuangson Prefecture. Because the types of beasts are numerous and very ferocious, it is known as the Devil's Lair. The cave is like a maze said to have 9 levels in total, and few can make it out of here alive." The steward announced the rules for this round. Everyone listen carefully. Before nightfall tomorrow, everyone must capture the Earth Dragon beast alive on the 9th level of the cavern. Remember, it must be captured alive. The crowd turned their heads and exclaimed, "Capture an Earth Dragon alive. How can we possibly do that with just us?" She narrowed her eyes and threatened, "Cut the crap. If you're scared, withdraw from the competition. There are no supplies, you'll have to fend for yourselves inside the cave. The first 4 teams to capture an Earth Dragon alive will advance to the next round." Tujia also explained to him, "The Earth Dragon is the Abyss Ghost Face blanket, very poisonous and very rare." Duongvi smirked, scheming, "I thought we'd meet in the arena, but I didn't expect the format change would let you escape your fate." He couldn't resist approaching his opponent and issuing a challenge, "But whatever you do, don't die in that cave. I still want to defeat you personally in the second round." Lambhan looked blank. "You are..." Duongvi face-palmed and said, "Impressive as expected from the team ranked first from the bottom for the past 10,000 years. You didn't even gather intel before the competition." He thought, "Speaking of pre-competition intel, I think someone stood me up." On the other side, Tietru sneezed repeatedly as if someone was talking bad about him. He enthusiastically introduced himself. "Brace yourselves, don't get so scared you pee your pants. I am the wolf of Huaivo district who has made countless men tremble and women swoon, the younger brother of Duongmach Duongvi." The crowd looked at each other blankly and uttered one word, "Duong." Then everyone couldn't hold it in anymore and burst out laughing, clutching their stomachs. Lambhan roared with laughter and said, "Sorry I couldn't hold it in. This isn't your fault." The others also dispersed. "Don't let them see us, stand a bit further away." Duongvi furiously pointed and yelled, "What's so funny? What's there to laugh about? Someone came and pulled him away, urging, "Save your time, let's go into the cave." He then noticed the person behind them. As expected, that girl came too. Several youths began to summon the Water Strider Spider, the 6-star Water Strider Spider, the Iron-Shelled Turtle, and the 6-star Iron-Shelled Turtle. As they entered the cave, they didn't forget to shout back, "You guys take your time talking, I'm out of here." Everyone was stunned and whispered, "Huaivo district just charged in like that. They want to get a head start." Seeing this, everyone else rushed after them. "Let's follow. We can't fall behind, I'll go into the cave. Let's set off quickly too." Inside the cavern, Meow Meow looked around and muttered, "The environment in the cave is most suitable for water, earth and poison attribute beasts to exert their combat power. Inside the cavern, the power of our 2 beasts will be affected. Daidu will have to rely on you here." Although his legs were trembling, he pretended to be brave and reassured his teammates. "Don't worry, with Brother Dieu here, everything will be fine." She looked around and wondered, compared to a beast attack, the most troublesome thing is the route. Which way is the path to the next level? Lambhan thought of a way. "Let's split up and search, meet back here in 15 minutes. After he spoke, Meow Meow and he split up, each going a different way. Daidio was left not knowing where to go, so he made an excuse. "Meow Meow, let's go together. I can protect you." But he was immediately rejected by her. "No need." 8 minutes later, he walked slowly and spoke out, "You've been following me for so long, you see I'm alone and still won't show yourself." That person suddenly spoke, "In that case I..." Suddenly a burst of power shot past Lambhan. He quickly dodged to the side and shouted, "So you're attacking first!" A second later, Lambhan grabbed that wrist tightly in the darkness and muttered, "This feeling in my hand is..." Then he summoned Koka to provide light. A red coin was quickly tossed out and a familiar voice sounded, "Yes." Koha stood to one side, providing light. It turned out this person was Bach Hop. Lambhan, who was in a position pinning her arm against the wall, jumped back and said awkwardly, "Sorry, I didn't expect it to be so soft. I didn't expect it was you." Bach Hop angrily cursed, "You pervert. I didn't come looking for you." Lambhan suddenly leaned in close and questioned, "That's right, weren't you guys the first to set off? How did you end up behind us?" Seeing the close distance, she became a bit flustered and said, "You don't need to worry about it, we have our own plans. I came to tell you that besides the 6 districts there is one more team." After saying that, Bach Hop left, leaving him behind confused and pondering the girl's thoughts. Lambhan looked at her departing figure and sighed. She's really hard to figure out. Soon Bach Hop's slender figure merged into the deep darkness ahead. Suddenly some familiar sounds came from another direction. His eyes widened, sweat dripped down as he wondered, this voice is... Meow Meow. The scene changes to outside the cave. A group of people were lurking behind large pillars, hatching a plot. Captain, will it be effective for us to wait here? You idiot, can you use your brain to think? Going underground to catch an earth dragon and then coming back up, that's a near-death experience. Why should we take such a risk? They thought about the scene of the others fighting their hearts out against the earth dragon and swallowed nervously. The captain imagined the scene of a nearly dead team bringing back the earth dragon only to be ambushed by them and said smugly, no matter which team catches the earth dragon, they will definitely be exhausted. We'll guard the entrance and wait until then to fish in troubled waters. Then the earth dragon will be within our grasp. The other two heard this and clapped in praise. Brilliant, truly brilliant. As expected of our captain. He laughed out loud and said humbly, just using a little trick, you flatter me. Suddenly Tan Fuang appeared behind them, without them noticing his tone sinister. Playing tricks in a serious competition like this is not allowed. That will get your brains blown out. At the same time, cries for help were echoing inside the cave. Lambhan ran hurriedly, thinking to himself, this is Lu Daidieu's voice. Something has happened to both of them. Koha ran after him, calling out, my king, be careful. But before he could stop, he plunged straight into the abyss. She flew out after him, shouting, my king. Seeing his body suspended in midair, he could only grit his teeth and endure. There are thousands of roads, but safety is the first one. Running without looking at the road reincarnation comes even faster. Thud! With that, Lambhan's whole body hit the ground in a not-so-graceful posture. Koha also fell on top of him. Lambhan endured the 2 waves of pain that hit him, feeling like he wanted to log out and complained, my back is about to break. She on top of Lambhan awkwardly said, sorry, I'll get up right away. Even so, he couldn't resist his lecherous nature and said, no hurry, you can rest on me first. Shh! Across from Lambhan Daidieu's voice rang out, Lambhan, help! Meow Meow was extending her hand, channeling her spiritual power forward, and exclaimed, Uncle, you're finally here. Seeing this, he quickly gave an order, Koha, clear the way. Koha stepped on Lambhan, causing him to spit out fresh blood in pain, then flew forward and replied, yes. She took a deep breath and opened her mouth, shooting out bursts of her energy. In an instant, Koha's flames engulfed the entire space in front of them. Seeing this, Daidieu let out an excited shout. However, the swarm of 5-star Earth-type lava ants seemed completely unaffected. He asked, with his mouth agape, it's useless? Koha swung her arm to block one in front of her and reported, there are too many of them and the effect isn't significant. Lambhan ran to the back and questioned Lu Daidieu, where is your Aho? Daidieu turned, pointed at Aho lying sprawled out and replied, there are too many of them, Aho is already exhausted to the point of fainting. Meow Meow added, ice doesn't work on them either. Tionggu is also reaching his limit. Suddenly he had an idea. Koha, release your full power, burn them. The redder the better. Koha frowned and shouted, as you command. Her eyes turned pale white and her entire body erupted in blazing flames. 9 heavens burning fire. Koha used all her strength, pointing both palms forward, and released her full power, unleashing a terrifying flame. The 5-star ants inside were still completely unharmed by this terrifying power. Daidieu got caught in the crossfire and cried out in pain. Meow Meow saw the fire on his hair and shouted, fire is useless, why are you still using it? The 2 of us are about to be burned to death. Lambhan had no choice but to use another ultimate move. He smiled sinisterly and said, that's enough, Koha, stop the fire. Namnai, it's your turn. Namnai immediately appeared and said, as you command. Koha stood beside her, encouraging, Nai, you can do it. The 5-star ants started to rage, their eyes turning red, their bodies trembling within the ice blocks around them. Daidieu hugged his freezing body and moaned, it's useless, the ice is about to melt. Meow Meow felt a pang of jealousy seeing Namnai and thought another female form beast. He crossed his arms behind them and said smugly, little Lu, today uncle is going to teach you a lesson. What is called? At the same time, Koha and Namnai stepped forward and touched their palms together. Lambhan shouted, knowledge is power. A second later, both of them slammed a powerful punch onto the ground. The 5-star ants saw the energy ring spreading towards them and retreated. They trembled in fear and backed away, but it was too late. In the blink of an eye, all of them were blown up. Daidieu was enlightened and marveled. There's a move like this. Seeing this, Lambhan immediately hugged her and praised, Namnai, you're amazing. He thought to himself, I have to encourage her more slowly, build up Namnai's confidence. She leaned on his shoulder and whispered, "It's all because my king commanded well." Koha's eyes welled up with tears, feeling left out. She pouted. "Do I not get any credit at all?" He was startled and exclaimed, "Of course you do. Without you this move would have been impossible." Then she hugged one side of Lambhan, pouting her lips and demanding, "Then you should reward us." He hugged both of them, drooling, but still thought, "Right here." Will this have a bad influence? Seeing this, Daidieu also blushed, really wanting to join them. "Yank!" Meow Meow pulled his arm forcefully, making Daidieu scream in pain. She approached with a dark face, jealous, taking her anger out on him, pulling his ears while thinking to herself, "This guy hugging one girl on the left, one on the right, he must be very happy, right?" Not long after, on the second level of the Ghost Realm cave, Lambhan spoke as he walked. "It seems we're on the second level now. Now we have to find the way down to the third level." He whispered in his ear, "Uncle, you were so cool just now." Lambhan said modestly, "You're too kind. But speaking of which, your ears are—" Daidieu ignored his red, long rabbit-like ears and suggested, "It's a small matter. Uncle, can you lend me your human form beasts?" He smiled brightly and agreed. "Sure. If we encounter another wild beast, I'll have Kokha follow your command." "Who said you're my nephew?" His eyes welled up with tears as he grabbed Lambhan's hand and whimpered, "Uncle, you really are my blood uncle." "Shh." Kokha stood in front of a huge pit and called out, "My king, I found the passage." Lambhan walked over and judged, "It seems the cavern isn't that complicated. No matter which path we take." He put his hands on his hips and concluded, "They all lead here." Daidieu had an idea, "Then let's hurry down. There must be people below us." Lambhan could only remind them, "In short, everyone be careful. The beasts will definitely get more ferocious the deeper we go." Their group quickly slid down the deep pit. He was full of fighting spirit and shouted, "Bring it on! Daidieu have been itching for a fight for a long time." On the third level of the Ghost Realm, Cave Meow Meow shivered and said, "The third level is even darker." Daidieu looked around and muttered, "Where's a monster that can make me look as cool as Uncle?" Suddenly he pointed forward and shouted, "There's something over there." Daidieu looked at the strange shadow in front of him and said arrogantly, "You think I can't see you hiding there?" He rolled up his sleeves and ordered, "Sister Soha, light it up for your big brother." From behind, Koha also threw a fireball that followed Daidieu. He clenched his fist and shouted excitedly, "Let Big Brother show you how it's done. Under the scorching, sparkling flame, I will freely display the heroic posture of Daidieu." Before he could make a move, Daidieu was hit by poisonous smoke from the skull. This scene scared him to death. Meow Meow from behind saw the skeleton hanging above and suspected, "This hair tie belongs to a disciple from Bakmang district." He panicked and buried his head in the ground, crying out, "My eyes hurt so much." Suddenly a purple light shot straight into the back of Meow Mew's neck. Daidieu, blinded by the poisonous gas, cried out loudly, "I can't see anything." Lambhan ordered Koha maintain the light. "We need to leave this place quickly." She immediately shouted, "Yes." He turned and called, "Meow Meow, follow me, we have to go." Meow Meow, with her seductive body eyes full of love and a sweet voice, uttered one word, "Go." She said softly, "Go where? Can't we just take care of it here?" This scene and tone made Lambhan stare wide-eyed, his face turning beet red. Meow Meow leaned in her hot breath, gently brushing against Lambhan's face. Meow Mew's eyes were now filled with affection as she pressed, "Isn't it good?" Daidieu at the side yelled out, "What's happening? Meow Meow, are you still okay?" Lambhan looked at the girl, hugging him tightly, and urged, "Meow Meow, snap out of it." He kept calling out, "Meow Meow." He had no choice but to ask Tujia for help, quick help. Tujia quickly appeared, pointed at the heart shape on the back of Meow Mew's neck, and said, "She's been hit by the mating poison. It's from the mating spider." Lambhan quickly leaned his head back. He saw Meow Meow slowly unbuttoning his shirt and shouted, "Mating poison! How do you cure this poison? Is something going to happen to her?" Tujia got to the point, "Don't worry, this poison only bewitches people, causing confusion. The mating spider will take the opportunity to reap the rewards. If you want to cure the poison, it's very simple. It's stated bluntly, you just have to dual cultivate with her." Lambhan's face lit up. "This might not pass the censors right." Hearing this, Daidieu roared a threat. "Dual cultivator? Who's dual cultivating with whom? I don't agree, Uncle. If you dare touch Meow Meow, you'll have to answer to me." Koha, standing to the side, quickly pushed him into a cave pillar and sneered, "So noisy." At this moment, Meow Meow had pushed him to the ground and called softly, "Lambhan." He was enjoying it, but still pretended to be shy and asked Tujia, Is this really the only way? Thujia gave a gesture of confirmation. When have I ever lied to you? Just go ahead and do it. Lambhan's lecherous eyes lit up when he saw the charming bust in front of him. He was full of vigor and declared, "If I refuse at a time like this, can I still be called a man?" Lambhan jumped up, embraced Meow Meow's body, pressed her down and ordered, "Kocha, adjust the light to its brightest." She immediately stood to shield the two of them and complied. "As you command, my king." She thought to herself, "Brightest? Does my king want to see clearly so perverted? But I like it." Lambhan was busy with his business, unaware that a poisonous spider was slowly approaching. His voice echoed, "Meow Meow, my apologies, don't blame me." The spider intended to launch a surprise attack, but it was too bright to see clearly. As it got closer, it could only see a blinding white. The spider exclaimed, "So white!" It tried to sway its way closer, while Lambhan was overjoyed, muttering, "I've really hit the jackpot today." He suddenly swung his hand out and called the spider, his tone cold. "It really is you. You really did come closer for a look?" Seeing this, Kocha's eyes widened in surprise. "I lit up the whole cave like this, how could it not see?" Lambhan grabbed the spider and explained, "It lives underground all year round, so its eyes definitely can't adapt to such strong light. Blindingly bright light will cause blindness. Thujia reminded me to use the tactic of luring the snake out of its hole." His every word seemed to hit its mark. The mating spider doesn't attack people but releases an aphrodisiac poison, so it must be a pervert. As expected, it took the bait as soon as I cast it. Meanwhile, Daidieu, after being knocked unconscious, still hadn't woken up. The two of them looked at him with only his shorts on and felt pity. "Daidieu has performed a great service this time. When he wakes up, we must praise him properly." Shh. Thujia was emitting a golden circle around Meow Meow and shouted, "Quick! The mating spider's abdomen has a spinneret. You can suck out the antidote with your mouth." "I can't suppress it much longer," the spider exclaimed with its mouth agape. "Like hell, I'm gonna suck it out with my mouth." Lambhan quickly grabbed a knife ready to stab its abdomen and threatened, "Then I'll just cut your belly open directly." As he was about to proceed, a stream of pinkish-purple gas was suddenly released. He quickly covered his mouth, his face contorted and coughed a few times. "This thing is releasing poison again." The mating spider transformed into a human form with a seductive body, pleading with teary eyes, "Hero, spare my life." 6-star poison-type beast, the mating spider. "Tutu," she pleaded in a low voice. "I have no ill intentions. I beg you, masters, to spare me. I am willing to become your contract beast." Seeing this, Lambhan was suspicious. "I didn't expect there to be a human form beast here." Meow Meow, after being cured of the poison, also chimed in, "Although it's only 6-star, a low-level beast that can transform into human form is indeed very rare." Daidieu reminded them, "Don't be fooled by her. She's very fierce. The person from Bakmang district was killed by her." Being wrongly accused, she waved her hands to clarify, "He wasn't killed by me. I just wanted to watch wrestling. I didn't harm anyone." The other three exclaimed in unison, "Wrestling?" Teotu's face blushed. She drooled her eyes full of affection and she stammered, "It's that. I'm this old and I've never seen it before." He was also speechless. "No wonder it's called the mating spider. It really fits. I also like to watch that kind of wrestling." Hearing that, Meow Meow glanced at Lambhan and sighed. "What kind of expression is that?" "I can learn that kind of wrestling too." The little spider suddenly proposed, "I don't want to stay in this dark cave anymore. I will definitely be loyal, just let me watch wrestling. This? I already have enough beasts. It's even more impossible for me." "You're really lucky. I am the master you've dreamed of every night. Just follow me. I guarantee you'll eat well and sleep soundly, and I'll even personally perform the wrestling act for you." "You can't have her. I only like handsome male leads. Master, please accept her, won't you? I really like her appearance. I'm very well behaved, and whatever knowledge Master teaches me, I'll learn it right away. Although the mating spider is very rare, its potential for combat power growth is limited. You should think it over carefully. It'll either wither to death or drown to death." Just thinking about that scene made him want to cry. "Sorry, we need to save time. Such a good girl, what a pity." "On what grounds? You all want to go to the lowest level, right? As long as you accept me, I'll lead you all to a shortcut." A shortcut? Suddenly a strange sound echoed in the cave. "What's that sound?" "It's the giant night bat. This corpse was left by it." "Hurry up and accept her. We have to get to the lower level quickly." "Uncles, I don't want to be hung on a rock. You see the situation? I can only accept her. How do you feel about it? You're asking me?" Of course, Jika has no objections. "I will definitely support any of your decisions. I can't believe he's asking for my opinion. It's so touching." All right, since it has come to this, I can only reluctantly accept her. Someone like me, who carries all the hope, can only endure it in silence. Let's go quickly. The sound is getting closer and closer. A second later, he bit his fingertip to draw blood. Pressing my blood onto your body should do it right. Contract beast. In an instant, she suddenly shut her eyes tightly, her body trembled, and she let out a soft moan. What's wrong? I don't know why, but your blood makes me feel very comfortable. Is this the legendary finger of God? Could it be that my supreme immortal saint body also works on normal beasts? What finger of God? Hurry up and lead us to the secret passage. Follow me. The group quickly followed. We must capture the Earth Dragon before them. Earth Dragon? Didn't you all want to go to the lowest level? Yeah, that's right. Isn't the Earth Dragon on the lowest level? The 9th level? The 10th level is the lowest level. There's a legendary treasure there used to forge peerless divine weapons, the Qingming Dragon King Bone. The 10th level, and the Qingming Dragon King Bone. Why didn't anyone tell us about such important intelligence? There's only one explanation the Mansion Lord doesn't know either. I'm afraid things aren't that simple. Could that mysterious 7th team be here for the Dragon King Bone? And at the location where Lin Xin and his group encountered the mating spider, an 8-star beast, the giant night bat, now appeared. Should we speed up? The giant bat heard the sound from over there and rushed over. Suddenly a pristine white beast's hand grabbed it and a voice sounded out. What's the rush? Let them play first. What if someone discovers the Qingming Dragon King Bone? It's fine. If some unlucky fool really does, then we'll just let him die. On the 5th level, Lin Xin's group was crawling through the shortcut while another team was fighting beasts. Master, when will you show me some wrestling? We'll talk after we get out. On the 8th level, they moved in the same way, only over there a touching scene was unfolding. Senior brother, I think I'm injured. Junior sister, what injury? I love every wound on your body. Master, what kind of wrestling moves do you like? Whatever. On the 9th level, things were the same. Everyone was fighting bravely. Everyone be careful, this one is strong. Master, do you think wrestling is fun? Can we change the subject? Yeah, wait, was that the Earth Dragon just now? We were so busy talking, we've already reached the 9th level. The 10-star poison-type beast, the abyssal demon-face quilt, was spitting out a stream of green liquid from above. Get out of the way. What is this mysterious pattern? Why have I never seen it before? Why do I have this strange feeling of being insulted? Even the rocks and soil can be corroded. This poison is too terrifying. Xiaoshu explained, the Earth Dragon's poison is 10 times stronger than mine. Trying to capture it alive is almost impossible. Lin Xin frowned and muttered, should I help? Otherwise they'll surely die. Meow Meow scowled and stopped him. They're our enemies anyway. It's perfect if they die. He burst out laughing from the side and added, that's right. Let them fight to the death and then we'll take the opportunity. Suddenly, a familiar scream rang out, making her eyes widen. Up ahead, a terrified teammate hiding behind a pillar called out, Bai He. She was tightly coiled by the Earth Dragon, screaming, help me, while Dadiao had been knocked unconscious. Meow Meow and Xiao Wu rushed forward and she yelled, let her go. Lin Xin behind them thought happily to himself, blood is thicker than water after all. In times of danger, they're willing to rush out. Just then, Bai He was slowly being pulled into the Earth Dragon's mouth. Seeing this, Yang Wei and the guy with the top knot stared wide-eyed and shouted, it's you. Dadiao also charged in. Ahu used the earth-piercing tusk, but Ahu was injured, making him exclaim in shock, Ahu's earth-piercer can penetrate armor. How tough are this thing's scales? It didn't even break the skin. He ran up from behind and warned danger. Bai He squeezed her eyes shut and screamed her head off, help! Lin Xin bravely stepped out and caught her in his arms, thinking with a slight smile, got you. Meow Meow started to get jealous, biting her finger and growling, this guy. Seeing this, Xiaoshu raised 2 fans to cheer, wrestle, wrestle. Having lost Bai He, the Earth Dragon quickly slithered toward them, growling. Ahu was scared to death. It leaped up and hugged its master tightly, not letting go. Suddenly Lin Xin stomped his foot hard and lunged forward. He ducked and threw an uppercut at the Earth Dragon while warning, back off. Lin Xin gritted his teeth and complained, this guy is really thick-skinned. Dadiao and Ahu, not knowing that his legs were still trembling, rushed in to hug him, saying emotionally, second uncle, I love you. The guy with the top knot snorted coldly and whispered, brute force is useless. If you keep pushing it, your legs will definitely break, and don't ask me how I know. Yang Wei's eyes were opened. To think he could repel the Earth Dragon with his bare hands, no wonder my older brother lost to him. Lin Xin smirked and exclaimed, very interesting, a good time to try out a new move. Nanai, come here. She appeared shyly, as you command, my king. Nanai's ice essence is preserved in liquid form within her body. She lightly licked the blue circle on the back of her hand. Dadio saw the earth dragon aggressively charging towards him and shouted, "It's coming again!" Another guy chimed in, "Looks like it wants to go head-to-head with you." Seeing its ferocity, everyone couldn't help but exclaim, "Danger!" It even accelerated in a spiral. He frowned and praised a fine poison dragon drill. "But with my 18 years of hand speed, can you block it?" And then he unleashed his ultimate move, the tendon, strengthening fist, relaxed tendons and intestines, vibrating muscles, low temperature and high frequency. The charging earth dragon took Lin Xin's punch head-on, making its whole body tremble and squirt out fluids. After that blow, its whole body fell to one side with blood and saliva splattering everywhere. Lin Xin looked at the collapsed earth dragon and exclaimed, "High-level prey always only requires the simplest fighting methods." Meow Meow ran over and hugged him, praising, "You're amazing." "We've definitely won." Lin Xin smugly put a finger to his lips and said, "It was nothing." Seeing this, Bai He's group had to admit, "He really is formidable." He reminded them, while it's still unconscious, quickly put it in the storage ring. Immediately Dadiao took out a storage ring specifically for capturing low-level beasts and replied, "Yes, second uncle." He waddled like a duck over to it, singing out loud, 1, 2, 1, 2, every step a claw, this is Dadiao's pace." Suddenly a voice called out, "Wait!" Yang Wei pointed at it and asked with a frown, "We discovered this earth dragon first, on what grounds are you taking it?" From the other side, Meow Meow quickly retorted, "Yang Wei, have you no shame? If we hadn't stepped in, would the three of you even be alive right now?" And he refused to be reasonable. "How strange, did I ask you for help? Yang Wei don't need shame, so what can you do about it? You obviously saw an opportunity and rushed in to snatch the prize." His anger flared and he threatened, "Stop talking to these bastards, I'm taking the earth dragon. Let's see who dares to stop me." Yang Wei reached into his pocket and stopped him. "Liu Dadiao, you stop right there." From behind Bai He interjected, "Calm down." But he continued, "You feel pretty great about yourself for defeating the earth dragon with one punch, huh? I'll show you what real strength is." Yang Wei immediately pulled out his blue coin. He threw it out and summoned "Come on out, fatty." The 10-star rock-type beast, the violent pervert bear, appeared instantly. Meow Meow exclaimed in surprise. 10-star fatty had bloodshot eyes and slammed its mace down as a show of force. Instantly a stream of spiritual power shot from its weapon and rushed toward Lin Xin's group, creating a crater. He pushed Meow Meow aside and warned, "Get out of the way!" In a flash the ground where he stood crumbled. Lin Xin couldn't help but fall. Xiaoshu jumped after him, calling out, "Master!" Meow Meow yelled from the edge. "We're doomed." The guy with the top knot remarked, "This beast is too strong. Why didn't Brother Wei bring it out sooner?" Bai He called out his name worriedly. Lin Xin Yang Wei burst out laughing and said smugly, "The best steel must be used for the blade's edge." He was proud of himself, while the guy with the top knot flattered him. "Originally we wanted you guys to tire out the earth dragon a bit, who would have known?" Lin Xin was still thinking calmly, "What bad luck, I didn't expect the ground beneath me to be hollow." Suddenly a golden light shone from below, attracting his attention. Lin Xin exclaimed, so bright below was underground lava bubbling furiously. Sweat dripped down his face as he complained, "It's so hot, I can't stand it." Suddenly a spider thread shot down at Lin Xin. Xiaoshu quickly said, "Master, I'm here to save you," he said in surprise, "little spider." After that the two of them landed together on a rock. Lin Xin let out a sigh of relief, exclaiming, "That's great, we're safe." His eyes widened as he praised the little spider. "You're really good." She replied, a little shyly, "My duty is to protect you, Master." Lin Xin looked around and asked, "Is this the 10th level you were talking about?" Xiaoshu confirmed, "That's right. You must be extremely careful, the lava here is very fierce. One wrong step and you're a goner." She pointed, "Right, the treasure I mentioned is over there." Now, before the two of them was a thick fog. He was speechless at the shape it was forming. "This treasure is quite manly." Lin Xin stood in the smoke and fire, telling himself, "Since I'm already here, I must take this treasure with me. But the problem is, how do I get over there?" Xiaoshu pondered. "The temperature of the nearby lava is too high. My spider silk won't last long before it burns up." He rubbed his chin and softly called for Shujia. "Shuga, it's too hot, so I'm getting an IV drip. There's nothing I can do." "Don't count on me. I'm helpless in this heat." She stood beside him, not understanding, and mumbled, "A leaf. Is Master talking to me?" Lin Xin frowned and thought of a way. Perhaps it's time to help Nanai ascend to the heavens. His expression looked like he wanted to do it, but there was no proof. It hesitated and raised a series of questions. "Now here, are you sure?" Lin Xin mused. "Right now only Nanai can help us get out of here." I'm doing this purely out of self-interest. No, that's not right. It's purely for the greater good. We can't delay any longer. Release Nanai quickly. Shujia cheered happily. I support you, go for it. Yet instantly Nanai appeared in a sexy outfit, breathing a little heavily, and exclaimed, My king, Nanai feels so hot. Lin Xin coughed a few times at the scene and then said, Nai, if we want to leave this lava area, we can only rely on you. He put his hands on his hips, probing her, but your current strength is definitely not enough. I think it's time to help you level up. I wonder if you are prepared. She lowered her head and immediately accepted. Being able to serve my king is the honor of Nanai's lifetime. Nanai has been ready since the very first day. Seeing this, Lin Xin's lecherous nature emerged. He took off his shirt while saying with a strained laugh, Then I'm still a bit nervous. So exciting I can finally experience doing it outdoors. Xiao Shu stared wide-eyed, unable to hold back any longer. She rushed over and bit Lin Xin on the neck, chewing a few times. He was attacked from behind and immediately turned his head and shouted, What are you doing? Her face flushed as she explained, Little Spider has injected a little stimulating poison into Master. You will soon lose consciousness, no longer feel nervous, and will instead show your most primal instincts. After it's over, you won't remember a thing. Lin Xin's head was spinning. Tears welled up in his eyes as he moaned, Won't remember a thing. I truly thank your entire family. Nanai saw Lin Xin's spirit suddenly drop. She approached and asked worriedly, My king, are you all right? Suddenly he turned and grabbed her hand, his face sinister as he breathed heavily in Nanai's face. As if controlled by someone, Lin Xin pushed her down. Nanai cried out in surprise. My king, Nanai's ice-breaking adventure began. She dreamily arrived at a vast ice plain. Nanai looked around and wondered, How did I get here? Suddenly the ice beneath her feet began to shake violently. She panicked at the chaotic scene. A black rocket burst up from under the ice from out of nowhere. That rocket pushed Nanai high into the sky. The rocket exploded in midair and its light filled the entire world. Nanai was engulfed by the light, feeling a strange warmth that an ice-type beast like her had never felt before. A long time later, Lin Xin woke up clutching his head and wondering, Where am I? What just happened? My head hurt so much. Who am I? Xiao Shu stood beside him, praising excitedly, Amazing. Master, you're truly incredible. He bit his lip so hard that it bled, crying and complaining, Not again. I did it again. I don't remember anything again. Lin Xin sat up frantically looking for Nanai. Suddenly a slender white finger reached out towards the lava. The moment that finger touched it, a layer of ice covered the bubbling substance. World of Ice. 100-meter ice seal Nanai, a 10-star beast in her snowflake form, turned around and smiled gratefully. My king, thank you. I've broken through. He couldn't hold back his tears, which rolled down his cheeks as he mumbled, It's fine, it was no trouble for me. After all, I don't remember anything anyway. On a sky pillar island, Lin Xin stood with his hands on his hips looking at the giant skull before him, wondering, Is this the essence skull of the Western Nether Dragon, one of the 4 great divine dragons of ancient times? Shujia continued. It has a terrifying divine might. The demon emperor searched for it back then but found nothing. I can't believe you stumbled upon such a great treasure. He opened the bag and said, Let's store it first, we can study it slowly after we get out. Then sucked it inside. Just then a figure suddenly appeared from behind and unleashed their ultimate move at Lin Xin with a harsh tone, Die. Now there wasn't just one but 2 attacking him together. A series of rustling sounds echoed continuously. The opponent's sword suddenly touched Lin Xin's body but did no damage at all. Qing Feng broke out in a cold sweat and mumbled, This hardness. Yet his entire body suddenly turned into a block of ice and exploded with the ice burst move, making the man exclaim in shock, What? Sharp ice spikes also began to emerge from the ground, shooting towards the 2 of them in a flash. The man's leg was pierced by one, and he shouted in panic, What? Didu's Qing Feng knelt on the ground, bleeding profusely, and asked defiantly, You brat, since when did you notice us? Lin Xin stood behind them, let out a sigh, and declared, You've lost. He was protected by the 2 beauties in front of him. Lin Xin explained, The 7th team was indeed after the Dragon King bone. I was always on guard against your sneak attacks, so I placed eyes and ears all around you. Feng Qiong also crossed her arms and remarked, Very interesting. He continued, Within 100-meter radius, I've spread a huge spider web using the spider silk to sense your positions and movements. Xiao Shu leaned her head on Lin Xin's chest and said coquettishly, Master, did I do a good job? Hurry up and pat my head. While patting her head, he gently reminded her, I'm trying to look cool right now. Don't interrupt me. Feng Qiong questioned. Lin Xin of Shanyang County, right. I've seen the materials from the 3 previous competitions. This is your first appearance, a newcomer who already has 2 humanoid beasts. Who is backing you? Lin Xin chuckled and answered humbly. My apologies, I'm just a poor commoner who got lucky. I have no backer or background. The man coldly said, Then that's a pity. Feng Qiong gave an order from behind. I originally wanted to befriend you, but it seems that's no longer necessary. Kill him. Ching Fang quickly threw out his coin and replied, Yes. A faint white smoke suddenly appeared in the air, followed by the emergence of the 10-star wood-type beast, the Wasteland Wolf. It quickly charged forward, intending to attack Xiaoshu first. The Wasteland Wolf slammed its paw on the ground, and immediately the earth shattered, sending large and small chunks flying into the air. Lin Xin gently recalled Xiaoshu and said worriedly, Instead of attacking me directly, he chose to go for the weakest beast. His eyes filled with killing intent. I see. You know that my specialty is turning multiple beasts into a combat system. Lin Xin snapped his fingers and reasoned. So, attacking the weakest link first is your strategy. Break the weak point and the whole thing collapses. He thought to himself, the new skill soul scrutiny is burning brightly. I really am a smart, studious young man. Moti sat on a rock and clapped in praise. You've grasped the essence in just 1 round. Feng Qiong's face darkened and she yelled, Can you shut up? Are you two here to cause trouble? Ching Fang, on the other side, raised his sword and demanded, Kid, if you know what's good for you, hand over the Dragon King bone, and we might consider letting you live. Shujia quickly appeared and whispered in his ear, The one nearby is Earth Origin 9th layer, the Celestial Maiden is Earth Origin 8th layer, and the one far away is Heaven Origin 2nd layer. It continued, Your only Earth Origin 9th layer fighting 1 against 3 isn't very smart. Lin Xin rubbed his chin and thought, Of course I know that. Feng Qiong narrowed her eyes as if sizing up her opponent. The man ordered, This kid is up to something. Don't give him a chance to breathe. Let's attack together. A quick battle for a quick victory. Moti leaped down from the rock and replied, All right. Seeing this, he clenched his fist. Lin Xin's aura flared as he summoned the spiritual power for the nuclear blast overlord Light Fist and threatened, You want to kill me? It's not that simple. Let's see if this move of mine can blind you. Immediately a dazzling light flashed. Ching Fang quickly warned, Crap, close your eyes. Not long after he peeked his eyes open. By then he had already grabbed the person and fled for his life. Ching Fang roared in frustration. This kid is messing with us. Feng Qiong's face was scrunched up, her heart filled with resentment. Tricked twice in a row. No matter what. I can't let him leave alive, I can't lose him. Moti remarked again. This guy is really interesting. On this side, Nanai asked as she ran, My king, they're chasing us. Shujia also wondered, Didn't the little spider say there's no way up to the upper level? Where are you trying to run? Lin Xin held out a coin, a red laser shooting from his eyes, and replied, There wasn't a path before, but after I've passed, there will be. It hesitated. That makes a lot of sense. The two looked at the empty space before them, and he exclaimed, We're here. Lin Xin closed his eyes tightly and judged he wants to go up from there. On this side they were chasing with all their might. Ching Fang quickly called for the Wasteland Wolf. As if understanding its master, it slammed its paw onto the ice, instantly shattering the entire sheet. Lin Xin was lucky enough to be pulled up by Nanai by his waistband. He stared wide-eyed at the lava below him and yelled, Damn you, you want to have roasted chicken. Lin Xin urgently ordered Nanai go over there. She shouted yes, then moved forward, reaching out and shooting her ice spiritual power downwards. Finally, his 2 feet landed on the newly created ice platform. Lin Xin panted and said, That was close. He looked towards the group and mumbled, Luckily the lava is blocking them. That wolf seems to be a wood type. There's no way it's not afraid of fire. At Moti's location, Feng Qiong was threatening, If you let him escape, you know the consequences. Ching Fang closed his eyes tightly, creating a source of power in his palm, and replied, You don't need to tell me. Seeing this, Lin Xin frowned and thought, He wants to attack from such a long distance. Instantly the man created a green circle that enveloped the Wasteland Wolf. In a moment, the Wasteland Wolf was equipped with enhanced ice armor, and Ching Fang's spiritual energy gradually dissipated. It jumped and soared upwards to his amazement. I can't believe he used an ice-type technique to enhance the outer attribute of a wood-type beast. The man celebrated prematurely. Kid, are you scared now? Your time to show off is over. Lin Xin was still calmly writing something in his notebook. Then coolly said, My apologies. This meager skill is still not enough to scare me. The show has just begun! He immediately pulled Nanai into his arms, raised his hand to the sky, and called out, Jike! As the K sound echoed, Jike rose from under the lava, lifting the ice platform they were standing on, much to the confusion of the other group. Her eyes shone like stars as she said, Feel my passion. This time let me take you to the clouds. Feng Qiong immediately launched her weapon. Another one of his humanoid beasts has been hiding under the lava all this time. Seeing this, Lin Xin quickly recalled Jike. Hurry back! Meanwhile, a green figure was flying towards them. It turned out to be the 11-star Thunder-type beast, the Thunder Maiden. In an instant, there was an explosion from the ice platform. Seeing him leave in a flash, Feng Qiong shouted, Damn it! He got away. Over here, Lin Xin held 2 coins, crossed his arms, and said smugly, We're safe. Suddenly, he noticed Meow Meow using a rope to descend, her voice still echoing, Da Diao, let down more rope. Lin Xin's eyes went completely white as he thought to himself, I'm screwed. Suddenly, a squeeze sound came from under Meow Meow's bottom, making her yelp, Ouch! Da Diao and Ahu above heard this and couldn't help but exclaim worriedly, What happened? Below, he waved his hands in a panic, thinking fearfully, This time I'm really screwed. Luckily, Lin Xin managed to grab the hem of Meow Meow's clothes like a lifeline. Because he was too heavy, her clothes gradually made ripping sounds, tearing bit by bit. Lin Xin could only let out a sigh of relief. That was close. Meow Meow squeezed her eyes shut and frantically shouted, My clothes are about to be torn. His eyes shone like stars as he said, Thank you, Meow Meow. Don't worry, the quality of your clothes is very good. It's just a small tear. Hey. As soon as he finished speaking, Meow Meow's clothes ripped completely. Lin Xin's jaw dropped, unable to believe the scene before him. Seeing that she had very little clothing left, she kept yelling, Let go. In this difficult situation, Lin Xin replied helplessly, How can I let go at a time like this? Ahu and Dadiao were pulling the rope from above, confused by the shouts echoing from below, Don't pull. I can't control it. Behave yourself. Then I'm coming up. Don't move around. From the depths of the cave, some thumping sounds suddenly echoed. It turned out to be Qingfang charging over on the wasteland wolf. He yelled, You bastard, where do you think you're going? Lin Xin turned around, threw out his coin, and said with a disgusted tone, This persistent ghost. Nanai blocked the path. Nanai immediately appeared at his call and blew a stream of freezing cold air downwards. After she was done, Nanai said, My king, rest assured. This layer of my ice is 5 meters thick. No divine weapon can hope to break it in a short time. He quickly landed and remarked, Luckily I have you. You can both block them and serve as a temporary landing spot. Suddenly Lin Xin stared blankly at the piece of pink fabric in his hand and wondered, What is this? Above, Meow Meow was still curled up, cursing, That bastard Lin Xin. He rubbed his head and looked up to apologize. I'm sorry. Suddenly cracking sounds echoed in the space as the ice platform gradually fractured. Lin Xin looked ahead and asked in confusion, What's going on? And I also looked in that direction and added, What method did they use to think they could break my solid barrier? Carelessly, a giant beast had appeared from behind. Just then Meow Meow glanced back and shouted, Watch out behind you! He turned his head accordingly, and there it was, the wasteland wolf in its wood spirit state. Danger was imminent. Lin Xin could only grab onto its sharp fangs. The wasteland wolf took the opportunity to push him forward. Lin Xin used both hands to hold back its jaws, worrying inwardly, Crap, I didn't expect it to use wood. Nanai rushed over from the side. Let go of my king. But before she could do anything, she was sent flying by the wasteland wolf's tail. He called out worriedly, Nanai! Meow Meow quickly came to her rescue, flying down with Xiao Wu. I'm here to help you, but Lin Xin stopped her. Don't come down here. Before Meow Meow could even get there, she was entangled by several wooden vines, making her scream in pain. Damn it! He gritted his teeth and devised a plan. They're both 10-star, but this guy's fighting technique is much stronger than the Earth Dragons. I can't defeat it on my own. Besides, in this state, I can't summon Jike either. I can only try the cooperative mode. Immediately, Lin Xin's spiritual energy shot straight into Nanai's body. He prayed silently, Nanai, you have to let me in. I need your vital energy. She was quickly enveloped by a golden energy and fell into a state of unconsciousness. Nanai moaned, My king's pole, that place, causing both the wasteland wolf and Lin Xin to freeze on the spot. At the same time, her ice energy was also released, merging with his spiritual energy. Lin Xin was holding it off, while cursing, We're linked. You think a mere beast like you can bite me? Empowered, he pushed it back. Lin Xin's hand, glowing with green energy, gripped the beast's head. In a second, he slammed it down, causing the wasteland wolf to land face first in pain. Da Diao from above knew nothing, and just poked his head down to call, Sister Meow Meow, are you still there? Suddenly, Lin Xin flew up with Meow Meow in his arms, startling him and Ahu. He looked at the beauty in his arms and teased. "What's wrong? I told you I wouldn't let you fall." She shyly demanded, "It's your fault anyway. You owe me a new set of clothes when we get back." Linshin grinned and replied, "No problem." He witnessed this scene and couldn't help but think, this position works too. Damn, the humidity is rising again. The group continued through the shortcut. He followed behind and asked, "Little Spider, are you sure they won't be able to catch up to us on this path?" Xiaoshu confirmed with certainty, "Don't worry, Master. You can't go wrong following me." Meow Meow thought to herself, what a pity the Earth Dragon was taken away too. "We've lost the first round." Dadiao ran while imagining being beaten by his father. "You can't even handle this little thing. I really should have sent you to Sawa to join the army back then." "Father, I was wrong." Linshin glanced back and took the blame. "The responsibility lies with me. I will apologize to the city lord when we get back." Xiaoshu suddenly asked a question. "Master, as long as we catch an Earth Dragon, it's fine, right? Regardless of its size." The other three froze, saying in unison, "You mean there's another Earth Dragon here?" She touched her fingertips together and pleaded in a small voice, "I can take you all to see it, but can I make a small request?" With question marks over his head, he repeated, "A request." Meow Meow excitedly promised, "As long as we can find an Earth Dragon. Forget one, even 100 wouldn't be a problem." Hearing that, Linshin shouted in a panic, "Don't make promises like that." Xiaoshu took the opportunity to spin a web and said, "That's great then. I was even worried that Sister Meow Meow wouldn't be willing to let Master wrestle with me. Turns out Sister is such a reasonable person." Meow Meow was stunned for a moment. "I have to endure it for the greater good. I must endure it. But I really want to say one thing, damn it." He sighed wearily and said, "I knew it." They continued on their journey. Xiaoshu went ahead to introduce, "This is the Earth Dragon's lair. Any primeval beast that gets close will be eaten, so this is also my first time here. Perhaps there are still undiscovered Earth Dragons here." Seeing the skeletons before her, she huddled close to Linshin and cried out, "So scary. They really eat everything." He supported Xiaoshu and reminded everyone, "Be careful. If there's one that hasn't been captured, then it must be even more formidable." Speak of the devil. A monster opened its mouth wide and let out a loud roar. Cut to the scene outside. The stewardess was squatting down, muttering, "This useless bunch." She lifted several large and small stones by herself, feeling uneasy. It's been so long and not a single team has come out yet? Just then 2 girls came out, waving and announcing, "Feilu Prefecture reporting mission complete." Seeing this, the stewardess snorted coldly, her tone displeased. "Consider yourselves lucky getting out before I lost all my patience." A second later, the other teams also came out. "Guancheng Prefecture reporting." "Baman Prefecture reporting." She crossed her arms, thinking to herself, "The sun has set. Can anyone else still make it? Looks like they're dead." The stewardess began to count down, her voice echoing steadily, 10, 9, 8, 7. Just then, Yang Wei's team emerged carrying an Earth Dragon, out of breath, reporting, "We're here." Everyone couldn't help but gossip upon seeing this. "It's Huaiwu Prefecture. Don't they have a storage ring? Why are they carrying the Earth Dragon back? No wonder they were so late." She frowned and questioned, "As disciples participating in the competition, you didn't even prepare a storage artifact." He was sweating profusely, his voice trembling. We originally had one, but we don't know when we lost it." He cursed inwardly. Damn it, it must have fallen into the cave with that brat Linshin. Although Yang Wei's legs were trembling as he prepared to cross the line, he was still overjoyed inside. "Luckily, we managed to carry it. As long as we cross this line, we can advance successfully. It wasn't in vain that we painstakingly climbed 9 levels, carrying this 100-pound Earth Dragon." However, another foot touched the line before his. Linshin got there 1 step ahead, waving his hand and announcing, "Shanyang Prefecture reporting." Yang Wei could only stare with his mouth agape. Bai He from behind said happily, "Linshin, it's great that you're okay." A person from Feilu Prefecture crossed his arms and commented, "Beaten by a single step." Ching Ching, sitting on a rock, added, "How pitiful to carry it all the way up just to fall short by 1 step." Yang Wei was furious. He put on a menacing look, got close to his ear and provoked him. "Ah, you fell so deep and didn't die. You're a lucky brat. Do you have an Earth Dragon? Or are you here to cause trouble?" The stewardess remained calm and explained, "As far as I know, there are only 4 Earth Dragons here. Linshin, even if you crossed the line earlier without an Earth Dragon, you can't be considered to have passed." Linshin nodded, reached into his pocket and replied, "Understood. We caught an Earth Dragon too, you know." The other guy, still clueless, burst out laughing and taunted, Don't you understand human language? All 4 earth dragons are here. What do you have? Just then he pulled out an earth dragon with several large bumps on its head, crying with grievance and hurt. Everyone was amazed. Look, there's a 5th one. His eyes widened as he shouted, "What the hell, this thing can be called an earth dragon?" The guy with the top knot not accepting it added, "That's fucking ridiculous." The stewardess was suspicious. "I didn't expect you to find the earth dragon's lair." The other teams also exclaimed in surprise. "We risked our lives to catch an earth dragon while they effortlessly—" "Such a small earth dragon, their luck is way too good." Yang Wei scowled and yelled, "This one of yours doesn't count." "How can an earth dragon that hasn't even grown hair be counted?" Lin Xin put his hands on his hips and retorted, "How strange was it ever said before the competition that an earth dragon had to be over a certain weight to count?" His attitude made the other guy so mad his eyes were about to pop out. "You son of a bitch, you dare to imitate me." Aiha in the back covered her mouth and snickered. "He imitates him so well." The stewardess interrupted. "This was indeed my oversight for not being clear." She crossed her arms and continued, "But according to the final rogue clause, the right of interpretation belongs to Kangshan Manor." "Ah, no, I mean, according to the authority clause, there absolutely cannot be 5 teams advancing, so—" Just then someone flew over from the training grounds at top speed, calling out loudly, "Grand Stewardess!" She quickly landed and knelt in salute. An urgent order from the Manor Lord. The woman walked over and whispered in the stewardess's ear, "The Manor Lord demands that the team representing Shanyang Prefecture must advance." She reminded her, "Even if you have to use the final rogue clause where the right of interpretation belongs to Kangshan Manor, you must let them advance. It's fine even if there are 5 teams in the end." The stewardess hesitated for a moment but still had to agree. "This, all right." She immediately announced, "I feel that both Shanyang Prefecture and Huaiwu Prefecture meet the requirements so both teams can advance." Hearing this, Yang Wei and Dadiao were elated, cheering, "The Grand Stewardess is wise." After that the stewardess ordered everyone return to the manor with me to rest. Everyone responded enthusiastically, yes. Only Qingfang remained standing there thinking, 5 teams advancing means the rules for the next round will change again. It seems someone is pulling strings behind the scenes, determined to let me advance to the next round. Could it be those 3?